Took my first breath where the muddy rises, spills into the Gulf of Mexico, where the skyline's colored by chemical plants that put bread on the table of the working man, where the working man does his best to provide safety and shelter for kids and a wife, giving a little of his soul every day, making overtime to keep the wolves away. I was barely 13 when the company man tried to dig my daddy's grave. It happened on a French-owned tanker ship, spilling poison into Galveston Bay. Well, the liquid fire filled his lungs and his eyes silenced any more cries. Cold in the grip, with death stinging pain, he fought like hell keep the wolves away. For the next few years, Dad was sick as a dog, but he made a recovery just to spite the odds. The settlement came and we moved out of town, where the sky isn't heavy with refinery clouds. Yeah, he's still alive, he's doing good, he's in his 50s, but the money's running out and he's pinching for pennies. So I'm going for broke with every song I play, 'cause now it's my turn to keep the wolves away.
Okay, everyone. Hope everyone's having a wonderful day. It is Thursday like normal, and here we are at the MesoVerse podcast. We have a few people waiting in the wings. Tonight we're going to talk a little bit about building community with permaculture. We're going to talk about some cool permaculture ideas, how to build community with that. We're going to watch a couple videos, things of that sort. Then we're also going to talk about, is technology evil? We're going to talk about some of the pros and cons. We're going to specifically do some major focus on electric cars, my opinion of electric cars, and we're going to talk to the other folks that are with us today. I think today in the, let me bring that up. So yeah, today in the Jitsi, we have Terry, Golf, and Mark, and as other people ebb and flow and such like that. So let's let me get that set up so we can bounce over and say hi to them. Let's transition into there, and I don't have that set up so you guys can hear them. So give me just a second. Should be that one. Oh, me and technology, man. If it's not one thing, it's another. It's probably why I'm the one that should be talking about this. Okay, we should be good to go. So we should be able. Let's can say hi, everyone. Everybody there should be. Everybody should be able to be heard now. Looks like it is. I'm just gonna make one more double check just to say, yeah, it says.
We're not coming through on delay.
Okay, then it's fixed now. You should be coming through now.
Are we coming through on delay now? Let's see. We are. Yeah, it's working. It's working.
Okay.
It's working. It's working. It's
Good. Okay, so how is everyone on this? How are you guys doing today? Anything exciting on you ends of the world? Anything that we all should be caught up about?
Anything exciting? No more so than normal, Doc. Just I think COVID's coming to an end, is what I think. But that's been my ongoing thing for a while now. But other than that, not really.
Okay, well, good. For those that don't know, guys, we all of us in this that's in the chat right now, we all play Minecraft, and so Golf, if Golf wants to put his link, post your Twitch link and your DLive link. If you want to watch us play and hear what's going on, Golf is the one that streams most of our Minecraft playing. So if you're interested, at some particular point, Golf will post the links to where we play. So if you guys want to jump in and watch, that's pretty much the most exciting thing. That's what I like about winter here is I have a little bit more downtime. Now the weather has been lovely, and so I've been out scything today and working on a few other projects. But when it starts getting dark, I just come in and play some games with some people. And again, if anybody wants to also join in and play on and just chat with us and such, you guys are welcome to jump onto our Discord. It's ! Discord will give you the link to that, and there, we're regularly talking about lots of cool, interesting things. So you guys can jump on there and hang out with us in our Discord as well. And yeah, I think that's a pretty good recap, unless Golf or Terry had anything that they wanted to add. I'll give them a second.
I'm good.
Okay, awesome. So the first thing we're going to jump into is we're going to watch a short little video on one of the really cool things that's happening in the permaculture society, in the permaculture world. You've got permies joining together and helping each other out. But we're gonna watch a little video. It's a new guy I just found on the internet. It's pretty interesting. He gives some really good information, and so I thought we'd just give him a little support and check him out and such like that. So let me bring up that information. Let's see, one link I don't have saved because he's kind of a last minute find. It's what is his name? He is Weedy Gardner. He's an Aussie. He's an Aussie from that's just recently got into permaculture. So a little bit of this guy's backstory. This guy recently got into permaculture because of being in Oz and the pandemic and all that kind of stuff. And so it kind of got him to decide to just kind of get out there and kind of live off the grid. And so it's pretty interesting. His journey is fun. So let me get that camera angle set up so we can watch it. Yeah, that's going to be yeah, we'll go back to this one. This will be a good one. We'll watch it so you can still see chat. So I am going to jump in, and I'll pause it from time to time and talk about some cool stuff that's going on, and you guys are welcome to do the same.
G'day, and a very warm welcome back to the Weedy Garden. It was a year ago I published my first YouTube video, and this episode is going to be one of my all-time favourites, and I'll tell you why. You see, this episode is all about community. It's about friendship, connection, and an amazing group of people who just visited my garden, the Grounded Crew. All of them are permies. That's short for permaculturist, and they are part of a growing tribe of people across the world from all nations who are taking the responsibility to better our world and themselves on a personal level by learning to live and grow with the earth through permaculture, permanent agriculture, living in ways that do not deplete the natural resources of the earth. Do you remember a few episodes ago I was digging my swales, getting the hill prepared for my food forest, and I had a bunch of guys come and help me with the digging.
I'm about halfway.
They were part of a group in my community we call the Grounded Permaculture Action Party. Okay? It's not a party like with music and dancing, although it can be. It's more like a rescue party or work party. Here where I live, in northern New South Wales, Australia, there are lots of these groups, and we have a strong feeling of community in this part of the world, and it's natural for us to help each other. Well, those guys came and went and left me feeling like I wanted to do something more about this situation. I wanted to promote the idea and to inspire you, wherever you are in the world, to start a Grounded Crew in your community. So I put a call out on the Grounded Permaculture Action Community Facebook page and invited 30 people to come and help me turn this into this in just one day. First I've got to make it cozy, so I've got some lemons to make some juice.
I want to make it clear, this is actually this is something that is regularly practiced in the permaculture world. This is one of the things that they really, really push towards trying to get people in permaculture to do. And it's a pretty cool concept. So we're going to go back to the video.
There'll be a lot of sweating with all that digging. I got a fireplace made for the evening, and I made a loo with a view. I marked out all my swales where people are going to dig. I got everything ready, so all I had to do was wait.
I love people working as volunteer because there is no money involved, which is more we can give our energy to others, to our energy into this land, which we love. Then look at those people now, they sharing their time, life into this land. This is what I like. Yep.
tribal, communal experience, which is just really beautiful. And as I witness and observe everything, it's just a very peaceful experience. It's almost like we are in rhythm with the earth, and we're supported by the earth, because it's just a very delicate moment. Yeah.
So first thing I want to say is, like, these guys are actually working really hard. It's very awesome just seeing what they're doing. It's really cool that they're in Oz. They have this kind of network. Personally, I'd love to try to set up a network like this here in the States, or even in just state by state. If we could get a bunch of people that, you know, just wanted to come and help each other out and just kind of just exchanged, you know, just that helpfulness, kind of like what the Amish do, or kind of like what we used to do back in the day with community and things of that sort. We could help a lot of folks that are just starting to get that, wanting to get off grid and wanting to learn all of these tricks. We would unbelievably be able to help them off, because everybody's going to have an expertise, and some people are just going to be good at digging ditches, and some people might just jump in and just, you know, get these swells dug, and other people might, you know, be the ones to help coordinate. You know, you can have some people making sure everybody's hydrated and drink, so everyone's actually got a role. And the other great thing about something like this is there can be kids involved, so the kids can see a bunch of adults working together as team and achieving things together. And so what it can do is can just also be a great lesson for, you know, just showing of building, you know. And again, you know, you might look at this and think, yeah, but I don't have anything in common with these people. But let me point this out. This was this June or this July, somewhere in that vicinity, in Australia in 2021. And so what's crazy to think about, like, this is in the heart of the pandemic, and so you can see that these folks are just not, you know, they're more important to just get stuff done. And so, you know, while some of their stuff, you know, some of the stuff that they say, and you might think, oh, I don't agree, I don't have stuff in common with these kind of people, you'd be surprised. Like, and then when you're getting out and everybody's focused on the same plan, and the plan is just to dig into the dirt and get a project done, like, that's what you have in common, because you're all working towards a unifying goal. And that's what's kind of awesome to think about.
Beautiful said.
Well, this is what we call, it's not an overflow, what's this?
Crossing pipe.
Huh?
Crossing pipe.
Crossing pipe.
Crossing pipe.
You know, when you got your wheelbarrow full of mangoes, you don't want to be going up over the swale and through the swale and up over the swale. So you want to have a nice little pathway coming up the hill. But you want your water to be going from the next swale to the other swale. So we've got a pipe here, which is sitting on the ground here. So when the water level comes up, it's just going to go through the pipe over to the next swale on the other side of my path. And I can walk up with my wheelbarrow full of mangoes.
No, it's actually a cocoon.
A cocoon, is
It
it?
was in the dirt.
Yeah.
A wild
it just feels so natural and normal. Just, you know, just following the scent of the soil, and people that want to do the work and get lots of gardens happening everywhere, so we can take care of every square centimetre of soil on this beautiful country we live in.
There's no more here.
Windy Hill.
The Windy Hill.
Windy Hill. Look at this.
Ooh.
So I just want to point out, and look, see, as you guys can see what was happening in the video, it doesn't matter the age of the children or anything like that. Everyone was able to comment and participate in a little bit. And that is a great way. You hear a lot of complaining about kids these days. They don't know how to interact. They don't know how to live in community. They don't know how to actually carry on conversations. They don't know how to do anything. And having get-togethers like this, even if maybe you only do this twice a year, you just spend the day being on someone's farm or being on someone's land, helping them with projects. This is just a really great way to teach kids lots of stuff.
So thanks for watching, and thanks for all the people that came and helped me dig the other day. So much appreciate that. So I hope you learned something, hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it inspires you to connect with your community and start up your own grounded crew where you're from. Have a nice day, and I'll catch you later.
So that's just really, really cool. Like, there's so many cool concepts that they can there's so many cool concepts that they can get on there and that they can do, and that we can work together and do some awesome stuff. So that's I like to show that there's a lot of hope in the world, and that's very modern, very new, something that's totally achievable. And what you were seeing on there, the reason he was building, those were called swells. Swells are usually built on contour. What they do is they're ways to slow down rainwater. They're ways to capture rain, slow it down, make pits. As you saw in his particular video, he's also using the swells for footpaths, so he can travel up his mountain and up the hillside very easily through the swell footpaths. Because in his particular area, he doesn't want his swells to always be full of water. He just wants it to catch dirt. He just wants the swells to catch water during the cold season or during the rainy season. And the thing is because it slows down water, it makes the left and right of those swells, it makes really, really good soil to grow trees and plants and lots of other stuff. If you want to eat stuff, if you want things to last a long time, or if you live in an area where you want to just simply slow down the rain for erosion properties. So that's really cool about that. Mark, Terry Golf, any of you have any comments on what we just watched? By the way, you guys are all muted, because anytime I click over and start a video, it immediately mutes everyone. Just a reminder.
There we go. Yeah, no, I was trying to figure out what it was, how the deal worked. Like, he had loads of people come around to help him, or them, but how does the the community structure work?
So it depends on the community. But how most permaculture communities work is, if you're working on a permaculture project and you're doing it like a style of permaculture or a style and that kind of stuff, then you can join part of that group, and you can just see, invite people over, and usually they ask you, just to make sure, have like a group meal, or make sure, people are fed, and if there's supplies, you supply the supplies. And if you have a skill to give back to the community, like if you can come work one day, or you've got something that you've got advice, or you've got something that you can give back to the community, then you give back to the community. But if you're, maybe if you're elderly or something like that, then they may not ask for as much in return. And so Now you couldn't ask for this labor like every day, but like this is designed for like specific projects. And part of it is just because some people are new to permaculture and they would love to get this hands-on experience. And so being able to go to someone's farm and get the concept and like get free education on how to do permaculture while you're doing hands-on stuff, that's part of why a lot of people choose to participate. Is, you know, they want to learn permaculture in the future, but they don't currently have the land, or they don't currently have time to take, you know, a week long or a bunch of classes, and they've maybe seen a bunch of videos online and they're just trying to figure that out. So that's kind of how that balance is. But a lot of times, you know, they'd like you, they really want you to figure out some way to give back to community as well.
Well, I think the reason why that dude was able to get lots of people to come out and help him is because everybody wants to learn from that dude, because he's very wise and knows a lot about what he's doing. So like anybody will just happily hang out with him at any point because he's got a lot of wisdom to share.
Well, hold on, let me pause here for a second. That guy has only been doing permaculture for 6 months.
Okay.
But he's very open and willing to try new things and to really try. Like he bought that land and he's really just trying to push the idea forward. I think that because he's probably just a genuinely good person and just genuinely trying to give, like, to try to learn and to share the knowledge that he has. So I mean, he must know, like, honestly, to hook up with those kind of permaculture communities with only being involved with permaculture for 6 months or so, like, he must have befriended somebody that is, that knows him well and that says, yeah, this dude's really trying. Like, we should help this dude out.
Well, and you know, the word gets out that if you go and help them, then you'll have a good day there. You'll get fed. The food will be good. You know, you'll have a good time and you'll meet some cool people.
Yeah, exactly.
And have fun, and you know, not be exploited.
Yeah.
You know.
So I mean, that's a really cool thing. I think part of the reason it doesn't happen as much here in the States is because, one, a lot of people are overworked, and two, some people that would be asking for this free labor also would be very much exploiting. Like in this particular situation, you know, and what we've learned, one of the things that we've learned from Dimatra and such about, you know, the hippies and such in Oz is those hippies and such in Oz are nothing really like the lefties and such that we know of here in the United States. So I think it's also like those people don't really care about anything else other than like playing around, learning permaculture, doing permy things, which those exist here in the States. We just get overshadowed because we don't hear about them that often. So, but yeah, no, it's he's got a bunch of different videos. We'll probably watch some other of his videos in the future, but I want to point to something like that, is to see like community is possible. We can build community. We all have something to contribute. You know, even if maybe it's, you know, not physical labor, but it's shared skill set or shared knowledge or, you know, just advice and things of that sort. You know, we as a human people I think we really need to be finding ways to keep bonding fellowship. And I know a lot of people out there are feeling this pull for fellowship. I just, you know, just hearing a lot of people talk and just seeing, you know, the vibes that's happening on, you know, different social media and stuff like that. You're seeing people are tired of feeling isolated. They're tired of feeling alone, you know. For lack of better words, they want to connect up with a tribe, you know. They just want to have people that they have some stuff in common with and do some fun stuff with. And so that's it's videos like that is why I think that there's a lot a lot of awesome hope in the world. Because, you know, once we get that's what the elite are afraid of. They're afraid of us doing more things like that. You know, just organizing together and being awesome people. So next we're talking Next, we're going to talk a little bit about technology, but before we go into technology, before we jump right into technology, me and Mark, we've been having lots of conversations about good ways to store energy, especially solar or wind energy. So we and him had lots of conversations about here on the farm, about what I should do and how I should, set up wind turbines and stuff like that. So there's another YouTube video we're gonna watch, and we're gonna watch this fairly. We're going to jump back and forth on this video because I want Mark's feedback on what he thinks. Let me see if I shared the right one. Nope. So I want Mark's feedback on this when I finally get this video to when I get this video up and running. But what this guy did is okay, that's not what. Where is this at? Right here. So what we're going to watch in this video, if it lets me paste the link, and it did that time, great.
The best part.
So what we're going to be watching in this video, when I bring it up, is this guy. He has a really, really awesome video of rain gutters, rain gutter power. This is actually something me and my dad had been talking about for many, many years. But this guy uses 3D printers, and he captures the rain coming down his rain gutters, and he decided to kind of step up this a little bit and to use solar power to be able to power things. Like now, immediately he's not gonna. You're gonna watch in this video. He's not entirely powering his entire house. He's just kind of doing a basic prototype. That's why this is super interested. So I'm going to bring up this video. We're going to watch a little bit of it. And then we're just going to see what we think about what's going on in this. So let me yeah, good. Let me get this playing.
Part about solar power is it works whenever the sun is shining. But the worst part about solar is that it only works when the sun is shining. Now, one solution is to store the energy in lithium batteries, but as anyone with a smartphone can tell you, frequent charging and discharging reduces battery life almost immediately. But what if there was a battery that could store massive amounts of energy and be cycled every day for decades without losing any of its capacity? In a prior video, when I charged my smartphone with power from my rain gutter, I showed that energy or work can be defined as the weight of the water times its height above the ground. But rather than wait for rain, why not use solar power to pump water as high as possible on my roof? To demonstrate the power of the height of water, we're going to throw first an empty jug and then a full jug of water off of my roof. First, the empty one. And now the full. The reason the full jug was so much more destructive is because potential energy equals the mass of an object times gravity times height. The empty jug weighs hardly anything, while a full one is almost 4 kilograms, meaning when it hit the ground, it dissipated 260 joules of energy. And to store as much energy as possible on my roof, instead of a single jug, I want an entire drum. But that much water will weigh more than double my body weight, which could be a problem for the structure of my roof. So after making a quick inspection on the location of each truss, I'm fabricating a platform that will distribute the weight of the barrel across at least 4 trusses. It should go without saying, but please don't try any of this at home. I grew up using power tools and climbing on rooftops, but am still very much aware that one slip could have me looking like that busted water jug on the concrete. So exactly how much energy can this store? Well, a 55-gallon barrel can hold over 200 kilograms of water, which multiplied by gravity and height comes out to over 14,000 joules of energy. But to get the water up there, we need some kind of pump. Negative side. My mother-in-law gave me this 50-watt solar panel years ago, which I'm hoping can still provide plenty of power for this project. So I've asked my daughter to help me with a quick function check in the driveway to see if the pump we ordered is able to move any water at all.
How far can you squirt it?
So Mark, so this is kind of that concept that we were talking about before, like earlier today and some other stuff, using the sun to pump the water up to the top of the house. In this situation, since he doesn't have a mountain.
Yeah, that's the thing. That if you haven't got a mountain, I don't think that. I think he's playing games here. I mean, the amount of water that he's putting up there isn't going to be enough to do anything useful with. I wouldn't have thought.
This is just a he's just running a prototype. Like he's just showing the fact that this concept is possible.
Yeah, I think you've got to move, tens of thousands of gallons, hundreds of thousands of gallons, maybe, up many meters.
Well, yeah, actually, we'll fast forward. I'm going to fast forward just a little bit of this because we don't need to watch him spray water, and then here he's I'm just going to mute it. Here he's fabricating. He realized the pump was getting too hot, so he's fabricating something to make the pump so it's water cooled. Let's fast forward a little bit so we get to actually. So the pump's now pumping the water up to his house using the solar panel. He makes a relay so that the water doesn't overflow. So now there's the relay in, so the water's not overflowing off of his roof. Let me fast forward a little bit more. Okay, so here we jump in.
2.5 volts, no current yet. How come I've got tons of volts and no current? How about I just go wide open throttle? I don't know why my lights aren't lighting up. I'm seeing milliamps there. I don't understand what's going on. All right, we'll try this again tomorrow. Something's failing.
Hey, thank you so much for the host. So what's happening here is we'll fast forward and play it a little bit.
All right, I think I found it.
So what we found out here is that it just the wire was failed. So I'm gonna fast forward back to him actually getting it working.
Disconnecting completely from the voltage converter, and we're plugging in now, hopefully through the gauges. Open the throttle. Just get wet. Come on, man. Oh, we're not over to the... Ah, there we go. It switched to the other output. Okay, fantastic. We are pegged out at, it's only a 5-volt gauge.
So what he's doing for the past video. So right now he's capturing the water off of the roof. He was creating enough in past videos. He created enough in past videos to be able to charge his entire cell phone. And so this is actually just showing that practicality, even on a small scale. You could power like exterior lights of your house, especially lights if you did like the dawn to dusk lights, or you did the motion sensor lights, or if you just maybe, I don't know, if you wanted to power a radio or some other things. That's what's so cool about what's going on here.
So we are pegged out well over 5 volts, only 20 milliamps, which I guess makes sense. Let's throttle it up. Actually, can we throttle it down? Yes, we can. So run it up, run it up. Oh man, fantastic. So this is yesterday's sunshine coming out of our pump storage. This is pretty cool. Okay, we got some refinement to do. There is water going everywhere, and we want this to be a closed system. All right, we'll do a little more work and come back to this. Since the printer was big enough to make the funnel, we should probably try.
So then pretty much what he does in a nutshell is he creates it so it's more of a closed system and more fuel efficient, and it's just in a nutshell he just shows that he captured rainwater and then created a closed system and was able to power about the same as what a small generator was with the setup that he had. And it was really just a kind of a smaller generator with what he was doing, but it was really an awesome setup. Just, it's a good thing to experiment and play around with yourself, but just showing this is a practical functioning way to do this. Now, if we could do this on a very much larger scale, like for me, if I could end up doing this like on top of the mountain and then have stuff set up a series of ponds and then use the water as a battery bank to be able to store all that energy when I need it and then have it come down. So, and this is just so watching this video really has got me like really wanting to do some different concepts to see, because I figured out solar's not where I here in southern West Virginia, solar's not going to be something that's going to really work that well for me, and wind is going to be great, but I want a way to store power, and being able to store power in conventional batteries is rather expensive, but I've got, about 500 feet of elevation behind me, and so if I can take advantage of that elevation behind me, and then be able to run some turbines and such down to the point where I can then use that to power my barn and some of the other stuff, that gets me a nice backup. Because what I can also do is I know that if I can't run myself completely off of the wind, then I have the water bank backup to be able to then power when, the wind need is down, and then have just a completely full cycle to really just focus on getting off the energy grid and making that work. Mark, any other opinions?
Well, you want to be pushing, of course, towards not that being the backup, but the grid being the backup, and you're powering everything from your system.
Oh, well, what I was saying more about the backup is I would have the water as the backup because it's so windy here. And it's windy at night. I'd like to wind to run as much as possible. And then when the wind, and then have a sensor set up so when the wind isn't working and the wind is kind of low, have then the water be that, because the problem with setting up the water to run as the only one, the fact that water freezes here where I live, and so like it means that in the winter time this battery bank might not be as effective as it is for the other 9 months out of the year. So
you don't think you can bury the
No.
water and alleviate that problem?
No, I can't. Not the lines. I could bury where the water sits, but there's no way I could bury the lines deep enough in certain spots, because just with the way the bedrock falls here, there's spots in that location that I'd want to drop it to be able to where I'm going. I know that there's going to be spots where I could probably only get about this deep under soil. And then if I'm spending so much money trying to insulate the pipes and such like that, then I'm kind of defeating the purpose of trying to make this effective.
Yeah. When you start having to heat the water, it's not worth it.
Yeah. But if I could have it, but the simple fact is how inexpensive this system could be. If I could get this system to work, 9 months out of 12, that is, that's a really, really spectacular start. And then have the wind turbines being able to do the other thing. And then in that case, if I've got those going, then if I needed to have some type of conventional battery, or I need to have something else for the other few months, the handful, the 3 months or so that I'm going to be cold, then maybe in that scenario, then I could either do that, or I've also contemplated the idea of running a rocket mass heater with a turbine, with a wind turbine on it, so as the smoke and the heat goes up, it spins the turbine, and then that might be a way to generate some additional power as well. So
okay.
And by the way, Roaring T-Rex, thank you again. Thank you for suggesting me to and that kind of stuff. I very much appreciate. Good to see you around. The bunnies are still doing well. By the way, guys, I don't know if you guys know this, but the little saying that you hear us say, bunnies are friends you can eat. That is all Roaring. He's the one that came up with that about a year ago in one of my streams, and it's just such a great thing. So we adopted that as a really fun saying. So, but part of the reason why we're transitioning into talking about this is a type of low-tech technology, but because we have such great things now, like with 3D printers and with CNC mills and a lot of this kind of stuff, there's a lot of experimenting and a lot of stuff you can do on your own and fairly inexpensively. So you can find a friend that's got a 3D printer, or you can, maybe go to a library or even get yourself a small 3D printer and make up some of the different types of wheels and such like that you're going to need. And so again, what we're trying to show is that it is actually practical to be able to do some of this kind of stuff. And this falls into the category of one thing that shows that technology is good. That future tech is absolutely cool, and I am absolutely happy that it exists. So I'm going to transition into the next thing I'm going to show you is I want to talk a little bit about how farmers are using a type of modern technology. We're going to hit up a lot of the reasons why I think modern technology is really good before we started addressing some of the stuff that we need to be paying attention to. Showing that, you don't need to be a Luddite. You don't need to be completely shun off all technology. You don't need to say all that technology is bad, but you just need to be honest with yourself, and you need to be looking at what's happening with technology and saying, is this technology being used the right way? Is it being used effectively? Is this something that helps us? So the next thing I want to show you is this video that farmers are doing to use a type of technology. So let me get this down so I can. Yeah, good night, Roaring. Thank you again for swinging by. It's good to see you. Okay, so this next. Terry, that is a good point. Before we jump on, if you live in an area where you could use geothermal and you figure out an effective way to do geothermal, that actually might be a way. But not everyone lives in an area where they can access effective geothermal. Like, I actually don't know how much I could use geothermal here, because in certain places the bedrock is not very deep, and one of the things is you could get here in West Virginia and you could be digging a hole, and all of a sudden you think you hit a rock, and this rock could be an acre large, and unless you're going to dynamite that rock out and such like that, you're just kind of stuck with hitting that bedrock and saying this is where it's going to be. So the problem is, so if you can't get deep enough with certain types of geothermal, then it's just not going to work. So this so what we're going to watch now is this is from last year. This is how we're currently using GPS and other types of technology inside Big Ag. So this isn't this is stuff you could get for yourself. There's smaller GPS units for your farm, but this is a really interesting concept. This is also showing where some use of technology can do some really cool stuff.
During our Farm Basics time today, we're going to talk about how do farmers use GPS.
Well, GPS means Global Positioning Systems, and when you think about that, if you're using satellites to guide tractors and farmers doing different things in the field, it seems a little far-fetched, or at least it used to, but it certainly isn't anymore. There are many ways that farmers are using GPS to help them with farming practices.
Okay, the thing that I think is most important on our farm, number one, is how we can go out in the fall with strip till, and then we can follow exactly right to the line in the spring with the planter. Without GPS, we would not have been able to do this. So we're marking those lines and we're setting those lines in the fall with the strip till machine, and now we can come back in the spring and plant right over the top of that. And here's the advantage to that, by the way. If I can get the planting done just right and very, very consistently, that means I get those plants out of the ground at the same time, I maximize my stand, I maximize my yield.
And by strip till, Brian, means doing tillage just in a very small portion of the field. So if we have rows every 30 inches, we may till just 6 or 8 inches wide and plant that seed right down the row. And not only that, with that strip tillage machine, we can put the fertility that each plant needs right where that plant's going to be. That's pretty fantastic, and it really has improved things on the farm.
So I'm also going to add something else to why they're not going to mention it, because they probably are not thinking about it. But the other benefit of doing strip tilling is you're not breaking up the mycelia that's in the soil as much, and you're not one of the perks. I don't know if you watched last week's video, but you saw where the roots can get down there and they can go to where other roots are. Well, between those rows, there's going to be extra roots between those rows that those roots are going to be able to find those old roots and be able to find those pathways a lot easier. So anytime that you can minimize the tilling in a situation like this, it's good. So that is a really cool benefit that this is already having.
A lot of farmers, they think auto steer is the very best thing on their farm, and I think it's awesome as well. Well, auto steer technology is made possible because of the use of GPS. And with auto steer, what that allows farmers to do is be much more accurate in all their applications. So there's no more overlap or over application of chemical or fertilizer or seed. This is all done much more accurately and precisely.
GPS technology has also made variable rate applications possible in agriculture, where we can soil sample to these specific spots, then we can vary the rate of fertilizer that goes on each acre of the farm. We can change up which nutrients go out there, and we can also change up how many seeds we put on each acre to take advantage of that fertility.
What Darren and I have listed here are just some of the ways that farmers are using GPS today. So the big thing we wanted you to understand, if you're a non-farmer, is that GPS is an incredibly important technology that is used in farming every single day by millions of farmers around the United States.
Well, one thing that it has allowed is targeting certain weeds as well, like our Weed of the Week. Can you identify this week's weed?
So that's just something, showing where even in the farming industry and such like that, there's some cool. They're using modern technology and such like that. And thanks for the follow.
I guess the controversial thing for me there was this concept of don't till the soil too much, don't break the soil up too much. Like, really? The whole mycelia thing, like, that's a different way of looking at things for me. I always think, the more that soil's been dug, the better. But then I guess it's a different thing if you're trying to use the mycelium.
Yeah, well, you use the mycelium and then use the root system, and where the roots go into the old root system and such like that. There's just a lot of we're finding out that if a light till is going to be the best way to be tilling soil, especially plants. Because some plants do require a bit of tilling. Like, there's no way around that. But not all plants want that. Some plants really just want to be able to establish in old roots, and so that's where it helps. But now the GPS, actually, I talked to a farmer friend who has a GPS in one of his big tractors, and he says that he literally can just sit back in the tractor and, like, he's just there to make sure the tractor doesn't do anything crazy. The tractor's really kind of driving itself with auto steer, and just knows exactly where to set everything up.
Yeah, it's not like accurate to like 10 meters. It's accurate to like a foot, kind of thing.
Yeah, Yeah, and it might even be accurate to better than that even. But yeah, it's so, just another thing. And the cool thing is, even if you're someone that's not really a big fan of big ag, at least what this does is this means that they're not this is going to reduce the amount of chemicals that they're actually going to be spraying on the thing, and it's going to be raising the food yield. So, even if this is something that you're not entirely happy about, this is still meaning it's better than the old way we used to do it. So, that's why I think it's really cool.
It means that less people can produce more food.
It does mean less people can produce more food, yes. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is I want to start jumping over to electric cars. So personally, I think electric cars is a really awesome concept. I think that if someone lives in the city, I think that if you're a city person, electric cars, and you're just commuting back and forth to work, like you got like a 10-20 minute commute, I think electric cars might actually be a really good option. But this current push that we're having, that we're seeing everywhere, where everything needs to be electric cars, where we want to get rid of, like you've heard the different people, in the Build Back Better and in, the Green New Deal and, Agenda 2021 and that kind of stuff. They just want to talk about getting rid of anything but EV cars. And I think that's the part that scares me. I like the idea of having other options. I don't like the idea of trying to tell me what they should do. So we're going to play a quick clip here that I think is very telling. I think it's something that, especially if you're an investor in electric cars, or you want to own an electric car, or you want to do something like that, this is something that you should listen to this clip and really think about what this means.
Have you ever wondered how the...
Let me get that, sorry, transition.
electric vehicle concept emerged in recent times when we tried by the automotive research and sales website CarGurus. The cyber difference includes the dual motor all-wheel drive and a larger battery capacity, which enables a Tesla to have 8 miles. For city driving, the range is 255 miles. But on the highway,
we're just going to watch this little bit first, and then it'll catch back up to what I want to talk about.
Coefficient. That being said, there is a known case where one Bolt owner was able to drive across Maryland from McHenry to Ocean City, covering some 313 miles on a single charge. As of July 2017, the Chevy Bolt was the only plug-in electric vehicle with an MSRP under 50 grand and over 200 miles in range. All other electric vehicles below this price point delivered less range, with the only exception being the Tesla Model 3. So what's the reality of the electric vehicle? You might be surprised to hear that Toyota isn't buying the hype. Their current CEO recognizes that technological advancements are making electric cars cheaper, and regulators are pushing to ban gasoline cars. Toyota remarked that Japan would run out of electricity each summer if all cars in the country were powered by electricity.
Okay, so I don't know if you heard that. Like, just I'm gonna actually rewind that and let you listen to that one more time. Like, this is Toyota, okay? This is Toyota. They're known for being innovative. They're known for being innovative with their ideas, and this is Toyota that's pushing the envelope on a lot of stuff. You've got the Toyota Prius, and you've got what's a Toyota Prius? Yeah. You've got, Toyota known for making spectacular, wonderful, great cars, reliable cars. They know what they do. And they said the reason that they would not put all of their money in electric cars. Let's listen to that one more time.
Toyota remarked that Japan would run out of electricity each summer if all cars in the country were powered by electricity. He estimates that
they said the CEO and that kind of stuff of Toyota said that they estimated that if Japan had all electric cars, they would run out of power in a country.
That's just where the video finishes at that point.
Yeah. And we're going to continue. We're going to get a little bit more, but I think that that's. I think that no, there's a little bit more. I paused it there to talk about that because I think that that's like that's something that's important. You have a major car company in a country that knows that simply by trying to have electric cars that they would run out. So I'm going to continue on with the rest of what he has to say.
The infrastructure needed to support a society made out of electric cars entirely would cost Japan somewhere between 14 to 37 trillion yen, which is about 135 to 358 billion US dollars. Plus, most of Japan's electricity is generated by burning coal and natural gas. So imagine if all cars in Japan were fully electric. That means they'd need to burn more coal and natural gas, which means they'd increase greenhouse gas emissions, which is ironically counterproductive. Today, Toyota is a leader in hybrid gas electric vehicles, which is authorized under Japan's federal regulator. But the company doesn't have any all-electric vehicles in the market today. Maybe the future belongs to hydrogen cars. Stay tuned for a future video.
So Toyota has decided that they're not going to go electric. They would run out of power by that summer if they made all their cars electric. That summer that they made all the cars electric, they would run out of power during the summer because because in Japan there's a higher draw of power in the summer than there is in the winter on the island.
Yeah, I mean, I think those are arguments that are valid, but they are, just related to the way that Japan happens to be set up and how it's producing energy. I mean, Japan could and should be using nuclear power to produce energy, and then it could run electric cars, right? It's just not set up to do that. I mean, the Toyota aren't not producing electric cars because people in Japan wouldn't buy them. If Toyota believed that people would in other places would buy the cars, and they if they were good and they use them, then they would. But I think the reason why Toyota don't do it is because Toyota can tell that batteries are heavy, lithium ion is heavy,
and it's expensive to mine.
It's not even that it's expensive to mine; it's just heavy. It's a heavy way of storing power. It's not the way to do it. Yeah.
Well, and another thing, in another video about electric cars, they talk about electric cars and they talk about the current electric cars. The shelf life of that battery is 10 years at best. Yeah. 10 years at best. And Toyota is known for making long cars that last, that are quality, that last a long time, and I could see them not wanting the reputation of only having a car that's good for 10 years.
Yeah, they're starting to get some data in now for some of the older Teslas, and to be fair to Elon, his batteries are doing better than virtually everybody else's in terms of, if you get an old Tesla, that will be in better nick than an old other car. Mm-hmm. I mean, they degrade much better because Elon's figured out the software such that it never does anything to the battery that really damages it, whereas the other guys are just letting the batteries discharge all of the time, some of the time, which is just really bad, and Elon doesn't ever let that happen.
Yeah, I heard that technically in a Tesla, you can't charge it any higher than 85%. It will read 100, but if you actually got stuff in there and you looked at the data, it would only actually be charged up to 85.
Yeah, which is they've done things like that. It's like underspec to make it last longer but again, that's just Elon trying to hide the problem that we're talking about that does actually exist. That normally when you buy a car, that car is going to be good. If you look after it, that car is going to be good for the 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years maybe, if you look after it. But that's definitely is not the case with any electric car. Even the best Teslas, they are all going to be knackered in 20 years time. All of them.
Mm-hmm. And that's gonna make a big issue in 20 years. So, and I think that's part of the reason why Toyota, like you're saying, Toyota is looking at the hydrogen fuel cells and other options that exist out there that are pretty that are pretty cool ideas.
Hydrogen fuel cells seems like the way to me rather than lithium.
Yeah, I agree. So I also want to show you I'm also gonna play a couple other things just to show you. Now we're gonna play a little conspiracy here because that's the world I live in, and I enjoy that. But I want to show you we're gonna talk a little bit about something that I think we should be also paying attention to when it comes to electric cars. So this video that I'm about to play, this video is from 2013. So it's about 5 minutes long. It's from 2013, just to show you that even 8-9 years ago, something that they were talking about that they saw on the horizon, and what that actually means.
3. The companies here today have endorsed our plan to continue increasing the mileage on their cars and trucks over the next 15 years.
Mileage targets for passenger cars will increase by 2/3, from about 30 miles per gallon this year to nearly 55 mpg in 2025, which means Americans will be able to keep cutting back on their purchases at the pump. And that's where the bad news in this story starts.
By definition, more efficient cars use less gas. When drivers buy less gas, state and federal governments collect less in gas taxes. But those gas taxes, a federal levy of around 18 cents a gallon and taxes by the states of between around 8 and 50 cents a gallon, they pay to maintain highways and bridges across the country.
And that's already a huge problem.
We begin tonight with that terrifying bridge collapse.
Take the example of the news that broke in May when an Interstate 5 bridge collapsed just a couple hundred miles north of Portland. By next year, the Federal Highway Trust Fund, the source of almost all of the funding for bridges and roads that comes from Washington, will go bust.
The bottom line is that we're in a downward spiral.
So what I'm pointing this out, the reason that I'm pointing this out is even in 2013, and I'm going to fast forward a little bit because there's an interesting guy that talks here in just a minute. Even back then, when we were just starting to see the hybrids, when we were just starting to see that kind of stuff, they were already talking about this. So this means that Congress has been thinking about wanting to tax us for how we drive for a while. So let's jump into this and continue on.
We are reducing the incentive for people to shift to fuel-efficient cars.
Kari Chisholm is a Democratic political consultant and blogger based in Portland.
Gas tax is a great incentive to get folks into fuel-efficient cars, to put less carbon in the atmosphere. By going to a tax that hits plug-ins and electrics and high-mileage cars, we're reducing that incentive.
But what do? I mean, the National Highway Trust Fund is nearly broke. The amount of revenue gathered on the state and federal level from the gas tax is declining like crazy, and at the same time we have bridges that are falling apart, we have roads that are crumbling. What's the alternative?
The first thing I would do, if I were king of the world, is raise the gas tax and then index it to inflation over time.
In other words, the gas tax would automatically rise at the rate of inflation. Supporters of mileage fees argue that legislators lack the political will to raise gas taxes. So they say state and federal governments need another plan to pay for critical repairs to roads and bridges. Last month, Oregon passed a law expanding the mileage fee program starting in 2015, this time to 5,000 vehicles. Meanwhile, Portland's Democratic U.S. Representative Earl Blumenauer is looking for a Republican co-sponsor for a bill that would test the fees nationally.
I want to take that Oregon experience and move it to the national level, where states can apply to test it in their own location so that road users can understand how it works, what the advantages are, and make it less mysterious. The idea is to be able to encourage other states to innovate.
Okay, thanks, Dan. Okay, so why this is super interesting is if you live someplace in the city, this mileage tax isn't a big deal. So you're driving, you're commuting, very little throughout the course of the day. Maybe it takes you an hour commute, but you're doing a lot of that just sitting in traffic. And so you're not paying a whole lot in your mileage tax. You're 1 or 2 cents per every mile you go. But if you're here in some place that's rural, if you're here in Appalachia, if you're in Wyoming, if you're in something like that where you've got to drive a far distance from point A to point B, this tax could cost you a lot. Like, this tax could be a really, really big deal. And why is this important is because that it's going to get to the point where they're not going to get rid of the gas tax, and then they're going to put this mileage tax on top of all of that, and this is just leading down that path where you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. And just another reminder, I'm going to show you that this is as of earlier this year. This next little clip we're going to watch. So this isn't something that they've just only talked about a few years ago and then forgot about. This is something that they're still currently talking about. And when I say still currently talking about, like, this was in that bill that was recently the infrastructure bill that was recently talked about in Congress.
The American people need roads, bridges, ports, and airports to build their businesses, build their families, and build their lives.
This is a live look at the U.S. Capitol right now. It's going to be busy there today as lawmakers take a major vote on President Biden's $1 trillion infrastructure plan. The bill is expected to pass the Senate, but Democrats in the House hold a small majority, and progressive members of the party say this proposal isn't big enough. But there are a lot of things in this bill. The bill itself is 2,700 pages long, and our Verified team's been getting a lot of questions about what's all in it. Anytime there are rumors of new taxes, that gets a lot of people talking. So our Verified team is looking into what this bill could mean for you.
Take this email from a viewer named Doris, asking us, quote, does President Biden's infrastructure bill contain a pilot program to test mileage taxes? The claim is also swirling all over Twitter. So let's verify with some help from our sources. Michelle Nellenbach from the Bipartisan Policy Center, Rando O'Toole from the Cato Institute. We also looked at the bill itself. Let's start there on page 508 with a section titled National Motor Vehicle Per Mile User Fee Pilot. It tells the Department of Transportation to establish a pilot program to, quote, test the design, acceptance, implementation, and financial sustainability of a per-mile user fee. That is, a system where we pay a fee based on the distance we travel rather than the amount of gas we use.
So instead of paying at the pump for a gallon, you would pay based on the amount of miles you put on your car. And so the provisions in the bill are to allow folks to opt into a pilot program, an experiment, basically, to see how it would work.
The pilot would find volunteers from across the country, drivers of both commercial and personal vehicles. They would then keep paying their gas tax, but also start paying a per-mile user fee established by the Department of the Treasury. Since this is a pilot, the government would then pay them back. And one big question is how to track those miles. The bill proposes possible tools like GPS systems or smartphone apps.
The question is, how can we do it and maintain people's privacy and do it efficiently so that it doesn't cost a lot of money to collect the fees? And a pilot project will be able to answer those questions.
As for costs, the bill allocates a total of $10 million per year from 2022 to 2026. So we can verify that yes, the bill does include a pilot study of a per-mile user fee. With your Verify, I'm Evan Kozlov.
So right there, you can see that they're currently already talking about doing something like that. They've actually put it into the bill, and it's something that they're considering doing. So now, Mark, with you in the UK, what's your opinion of that? What do you think about something like that?
Well, we have road tax, which is paid annually. like every car's got to have, it used to be a tax disc, but we don't actually have to display them anymore, but it's kind of still the same, like an annual thing that you've got to pay. But then of course when we buy petrol, we pay through the nose for it. Like our petrol is much more expensive than American petrol is. And so I've heard it said, and I'm pretty sure it's the case, that even if the money that's collected just from road tax, if that money was spent on the roads, then we'd have, you know, the best roads in the world, but we don't. But if they were to like spend, you know, the money that we get from the road tax and the, you know, what they collect from the duty with petrol, it would be, you know, like we'd have it absolutely amazing roads, you know, they'd be plated in gold kind of thing. But it's just a money collection thing, and it's just a means of control, you know. I think as a mechanism, there probably should be some taxation of fuel, in the same way that there should be some property tax, because otherwise, like, people will exploit the roads. You've got to kind of limit. I don't know, but it's a tricky one. You definitely don't want to be charging people by the mile, because then you have to keep track of where everybody's been. That's a reason why the government needs to trace everybody's movements. And so, yeah, no, I don't want to just add that as an arbitrary way of we're just dealing with petrol now, just because it happens to, for the first time, require the movement of everybody on the planet all times. Now, I mean, that's the reason behind it, right? That's why they want it. It's a reason to track people.
Yep, and so I wanted to point this out. I wanted to get Mark's opinion on this. I wanted to point out, you know, this is the reason. And we just watched, just before we stuffed the stuff with the cars, we just saw that they can put this on tractors and figure out the exact inches and such that to the feet that tractors can go and direct to that. So just imagine them being able to put this in everybody's car. And, you know, if you back and forth up and down in your driveway enough times, that's going to reach a mile. And, you know, they're going to be able to charge you every time you move your car in and out of your garage, technically, even though you never got onto a public road. So, you know, like what Mark said, it's something that's very interesting.
So I wanted to bring up Toronto. A lot of people who work in Toronto don't live in Toronto, so they have long commutes. What would happen would be that home prices in the GTA, the Greater Toronto Area, would, I guess, equalize more with inner Toronto home prices. If the benefit of moving out of Toronto and the long commute there and back does not outweigh the cost of living in Toronto, it would equalize home prices. Like my city, there are people who live in my city and drive close to 2 hours.
Wow.
To Toronto because they cannot afford to live in the city, so they're moving to my city.
But what it would also do, though, is it would bring more people into the city, and it would condense the city more, and it would get more people into the machine.
That's the thing. Do we want a highly dense city?
Yeah, I mean that is a great question. Is with the current technology and with the way, you know, humans interact and stuff, do we want, you know, is that something that's desirable? I don't know, Mark, you live in a fairly dense city that's been a fairly dense city for most of, you know, for a very long time. What's your opinion of that?
There's a limit to how dense it can be. You know, like, I think the point where you're like sleeping in a box above another guy that's sleeping in a box that you rented to sleep in the night, like the Chinese are doing with that kind of, like, you know, if your house is big enough that you've got a little back garden, and then you've probably got enough room between you and your next door neighbors. You don't want to be right in the center of town, I don't think, but you want to live in a relatively dense accommodation. Safety in numbers.
Yeah. Now, Terry, you're like me with a lot of stuff. You know, you're not necessarily someone that enjoys wanting to live with a bunch of people. But what do you think other Canadians, do you think Canadians like their freedom, and they like their I shouldn't say freedom, they like their they like their space? Or do you think more Canadians would actually just move into a denser, maybe not living in boxes, but maybe living in more of a compacted city?
As far as I can tell, there is a current flight of people out of major cities into the countryside in Canada. Outside the city, the properties there have increased $200,000 in the last few months.
Yeah, we're seeing that here in we're seeing that here in the States as well. Lots of rural property, Ozarks, Idaho, a lot of the rural, the rural trendy spots seem to really be increasing in price.
The thing is, if you have a large property and you require a vehicle to navigate, are they going to tax you as you're driving across your acres?
Mm-hmm. That's
It's
a good point.
It's your land, it's your road, the roads that you build, and the government is going to tax you for something that you are using yourself and upkeeping yourself, even if it's a dirt road that you're preventing grass from growing on.
Yeah, I mean, for me to drive up to the top of my mountain and to drive all the way back following the road, I think that's 3/4 of a mile. So that would mean that without me ever leaving my property to go to the top of a mountain and back, it would cost me roughly a penny. The government would steal a penny from me on a road that they're never going to touch.
Now, what if they wanted to do this to farmers with their tractors and fine them for recharging their tractors as they're harvesting their wheat or corn, whatever? Like, how far are their tractors traveling across the fields?
Mm-hmm.
Back and forth, and the tilling, and the fertilizing, and the harvesting.
Yeah.
This would squeeze out the independent farmer. They wouldn't be able to afford it.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it like that. You're absolutely correct.
They're just trying. It's just a taxation of work, then, right? Movement.
Yeah. Yep. Hey, Dematra. Yeah, no, it's
Hey,
these are
guys.
these are the things that we need to pay attention to. So, Dematra, you're a country boy. What's your opinion of this this kind of tax?
I'm not really sure. What I was saying in the chat before was basically it would be good for my personal vehicle because I pay the same amount of tax as everyone else, which is insane here, and I barely ever drive my car. But the only problem is like if we did it by distance, our work vehicles would be taxed like crazy because of the amount of driving we have to do in them. So, and then I thought maybe you could do some sort of business tax write-off with it, possibly. With regards to like how you guys were talking about traveling into cities, I don't know, they could do some sort of tax write-off for that if it's for work. But yeah, I'm lucky I don't have to drive to work. I live at work, so.
I mean, but like me and Tara, I don't know if you heard what me and Tara were talking about, but we were talking about what if they start taxing you just for every mile that your car turns? And so what if you were just, joy riding on your own property or driving from one side of your farm to the other? You're not actually on a public road, but they're still going to tax you because they're not going to know the difference.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, that probably wouldn't happen that much. I guess you'd have to have some sort of vehicle that was made for your farm. I guess like a farm vehicle, one that's not registered.
Mm-hmm. I gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I can see that. That would be a way around it.
You don't have to register a donkey.
You don't. Well, one of the you're absolutely right, Terry. Don't have to register a donkey, not yet, at least. One of the things that's happening here in West Virginia is they allowed ATVs and four-wheelers and recreational vehicles on the road now, and I just know a lot of people that stop driving their car and that's all they drive now. I mean, yeah, they're not
Yeah,
as
I'd do that probably.
Yeah,
I
they're
think
not.
we.
Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry.
You talk. I listen.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think we have like a rule here with if it's under 50 cc, I think you're allowed to drive it on roads and stuff without a license or rego.
Yeah, Dan. No, that special that special that special untaxed gas is really hard to come by around here anymore. Like I can't even. I don't even know any place I can get red diesel anymore. So, and red diesel's what's optimally to put in your tractor and such like that. So, you know, it's they're getting it now. They're just finding out, like, some of these ATVs and such, especially the ones that don't have air conditioning and don't have all this other special stuff, they get really good gas mileage. And some of the places, there's even four-wheeler trails between people's yards to get to different places, so you know they can take shortcuts and such like that. So it's just becoming and as people have less and less money, like, the insurance is not as well. Some of these people I know don't have insurance on their ATVs, but the insurance even isn't as high on the ATVs and such like that. So there's just more. It's just going in that direction here. You know, people, it's too dangerous to drive motorcycles like regularly through all 4 seasons here, and we don't quite have a long enough winter for people to invest in snowmobiles. So this is just kind of what's happening in Appalachia, is they're just moving to the ATVs.
The whole tax on the electric vehicles is interesting, though.
Yeah, I mean, they're gonna
How they're gonna do that.
They're probably gonna figure out a way. They're probably gonna figure out a way to do it in the future, because I can't imagine the government not figuring out a way to collect a tax.
Well, it's just you can charge your cars at home, so they're gonna have to set up some sort of separate meter for your car, like your car charging at home, because you won't be able. I guess they could just do it at the stations. The charging stations would be easy, put a tax on that, but charging from your home would be a bit different.
Virtually all of the cars that are on the road, you can't charge from your home, though. Most of the cars that you can't, you know, these hybrid nonsenses, or you can only charge them with these special pump things where you've got to use these special connectors, and the whole thing's a closed system.
You can charge the Teslas at home, right? My sister has one.
If you buy, if you've got or you buy one of the special adapters, yes.
Yeah, like the power bank thing for the wall or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she has one of them.
Yeah. No, I mean, so I mean, again, what this is going to do is, like, just as, you know, I don't know, I think it was a handful of years ago, if I wanted to have a gas pump on the property, I actually used to be able to get a gas pump. I could bury a big enough tank. I could fill it. I could get a gas station. I could get a thing to fill it up with petrol, and then I could fill up my cars. I want now. You know, in current year, that's a whole lot harder. Even with me having a farm, that's a whole lot harder to do and require a lot more money to be able to do that. You know, and it used to be pretty easy. You know, back in the day, you know, I knew people that lived in the city that would bury a tank in their backyard, and they would have their own. You know, they could fill up at their own house. And they're just making that harder and harder to come by, and I think they're going to do the same thing with the electric cars. Is over time they're just going to make it so that you can't fill up at your house. You know, maybe if you're rich or your grandfathered into one of the first that kind of stuff, they'll let you do it. But in general, in a few years, they're just going to say, oh, it's too dangerous to charge up at your own house.
They're going to try to do that, but they'll fail.
Maybe.
Because people will charge up at their own houses.
And then my guess is if people start doing that a lot, what they'll probably end up doing is they'll probably end up just raising the cost of electric for everyone.
Well, that's what they're trying to do.
Oh yeah,
they have been doing that. That's what the global warming scam is about. That's what peak oil was about previously.
No, you're right, Dan. They'll use that "you'll catch your house on fire" type of excuse. I can totally see that. Or they'll start what you'll do is you'll start seeing news reports of people's house catching on fire and neighborhoods catching on fire, and they're just like, oh, those people were charging their electric car at their house, and that's why the neighborhood caught on fire. I can totally see that.
They're like vigilantes, a bit like Carl Rittenhouse.
Yeah.
Vigilantes going out there getting their own power. It's the kind of people that need to be stopped.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because like we were just talking about, like they would absolutely despise someone that creates their own electric and then charges their car with their own home created electric. You can't drive for free. What are you talking about?
Well, they'd have to make it illegal to do that.
They might try. I mean, that's the thing. Like in the state of Florida, and here in the United States, like if you have a structure that you're going to live in, you have to have a power meter. At minimum, it's going to cost you $5 a month, but you have to have a power meter if there's a livable structure there. You have to be attached to the grid. Well, it actually doesn't have to be attached to your house. It just has to be, there has to be a pole with a meter on it for it to be considered a livable structure.
All of the grants that I've ever seen that are available for the UK to have PV fitted are for grid-tied systems. I've never seen a grant where the government will give you money for a system where you're not tied to the grid.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They don't want you doing your own thing.
Nope. They want as much control over you as they can. Even if they're gonna let you go off a little bit, they still want as much control. Hey, Frosted Flakes. Welcome. Yeah, so it's I don't know. It's gonna be it's pretty interesting.
The thing is, lithium. If we do electric with lithium, that's almost like we're not moving away from oil, because it's still there. There's virtually all of the lithium's in like one or two places on the planet, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like those are known and controlled, and like the amount that's there is guarded. We don't know. It's probably 10 times as what's there as what we're told, and that kind of thing. But it's whereas hydrogen fuel cells is a technology seems to be that's not limited by a natural resource in the way that lithium is. It's just like you can just make those out of lots of different things. It's a technology, and the New World Order don't want that to happen, and that is it. That's what we're going to do. I think hydrogen fuel cells, and what we're doing with lithium batteries is just a stopgap thing that we're doing now, because the American government are giving money to Elon Musk to make it appear like he's making profit when he's not. That's what we've got to remember. Tesla is not an economically successful company, right?
Yeah, correct.
That's a very, very basic fact that all those Musk fanboys need to remember. They just get given money. Take away the subsidies, and I think that's the case, right?
I mean, take away the subsidies of most car companies in the United States, and they're not profitable anymore.
So no, Toyota not being all over it is a massive alarm bell. Why don't Toyota bother? Because they just can tell it's wrong. It's not ready yet. The thing is, they want you to use electric cars, but then, but of course you can't burn coal, and you can't have a nuclear power station, so you can't have any power. So you can't actually have any electric. That's actually what they want.
Oh yeah, that
The
is
hydrogen fuel cells, they're just like hydrogen gas, aren't they?
Well, most hydrogen fuel cells are the way a lot of times the way they're made is with like their byproducts water, and so I mean, and there's also the stuff for small commuting cars for people that aren't going to commute people that are going to planning on commuting small distances. They've actually set it up where there is cars that do run on compressed air.
With hydrogen fuel cell, the fuel source is hydrogen, and
Yeah.
it produces water, and the reaction produces lots of energy. But like hydrogen weighs a lot less than lithium.
Thank you for the follow. Yeah, no, it does. That is I mean, hydrogen fuel cells is probably where most cars are going to move to, with probably still a little bit of electric engines. And maybe even gas-powered engines, maybe a combination of all three. And I think that actually might be a good approach. So
Yeah, my dad. You know those Did you guys ever make them? They're like, it's got like metal sheets, and you like run a current through it, and it produces hydrogen gas, and you put it in your car.
No, I've never done that, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, he made a bunch of them for the trucks like 10 years ago or something. They worked all right, cut back the amount of fuel a little bit, but
No, that's cool. So yeah, so to finish up with the electric cars, like personally, like I said, I think they're cool. I think it's a cool concept. I don't ever plan on owning an electric car. Thank you, any word. So yeah, I don't really plan on. Now that being said, I might own an electric tractor. I think an electric tractor sounds like a cool idea. Especially since my electric tractor won't ever travel that far away from the farm and such like that. Electric bikes sound pretty cool. I don't know what I'd ever use one for, but it sounds pretty cool. But yeah, an electric car, yeah, just not ever really going to be my cup of tea.
yeah, electric bikes are really fun.
Yeah, no, I can see them being really fun, yeah.
But yeah, the electric cars like the Tesla, I don't know. I've been in it a couple of times and I didn't really like it. It was sort of like a gimmicky experience.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of like a toy car, bit of fun.
Mark, Terry, either one of you have an opinion on if you would ever own electric cars?
I think that petrol weighs less than lithium.
I'm sticking with getting the donkey.
Terry's sticking with the donkey, so. Okay, the next thing I'm going to show you is this is a really interesting concept. This is from a company called Stanley Robotics. I understand the practical. When we watch this, you're going to understand the practical use of this. I see how this is going to be useful, but we're going to talk about. I picked this one for a particular reason because this one is like, to me, it's a very double-edged sword.
Future. Stanley Robotics. This is a very interesting new way to store your car while you're away without having to leave it in an unsecure parking lot. This new technology is able to pick up your car, with or without your keys, allowing you to quickly and easily let a computer system store your car in a nearby outdoor facility, then retrieve your car for you when you're ready to depart. This would be the perfect solution for an airport that may have several cars on the lot that are not accessed frequently. If you need to store your car for a few weeks while you're on a business trip, this would be the perfect solution. All you need to do is park your car in a Stanley Robotics car garage and walk away. Later on, a robot will come by and retrieve your car, placing it in a secure location until you need it again. When you're ready to drive home, the robot will locate your car in the lot, pick it up, and bring it to you. This helps prevent damage to your vehicle by other cars, lowers the possibility of theft, and keeps you from having to wander around in the weather, searching for the car that you parked several weeks ago. Vento. Vento is an amazing new portable fan that you can take anywhere you go. Before, it would be very difficult to take a fan with you, especially to the gym or outdoors. However, this battery-powered fan can easily fit into your bag.
My back. Okay, cool. So, I think that that concept is really cool with the car. The only downfall I have is that I can see it being totally exploited, and I for some reason have now can't hear Dematra. So you can keep talking, Dematra, and I will listen.
I wasn't
get
talking.
The setup so I can listen.
Yeah, I wasn't talking.
Parking cars is one of the jobs you said that. You said parking cars is one of the jobs that can never be automated. Okay. Yeah, I see that from. I saw Dan. I saw Dan saw that, so I don't know. I don't know what just happened. Why I lost. Why I lost you. So let me get this. Let me get this figured out. Thank you, Dan, for letting me know this. I don't know why all of a sudden it decided to say no to everyone else. Okay. And you're now muted, Mark, so I can hear birds again, so okay, that should have fixed it. Why does this not output? Oh, the internet is hilarious. Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, Liz, that is another good point. Is like, you know, who actually has had problems parking a car? You know, most people can find a place to park their car. It just seems like it really just seems like it's something that they're making a lot bigger deal. They're filling something that doesn't have a problem. I'm gonna restart Jitsi. I'm gonna restart Jitsi because it doesn't look like it's playing. So let me get that restarted, guys. Yeah, sorry guys. I don't know why all of a sudden we lost Mark and we can't hear him. So hopefully what I do here fixes it. And it doesn't look like it did. So okay, how about that? Okay, yeah, that fixed it.
It's working now, is it?
So I can't hear it for some reason, but
Yeah, it's cool. We're back. Finally, we can hear me again. Blimey. The viewers must have been desperate. Sorry about that.
Okay, Mark,
Thanks.
one more time.
Okay, thank you for letting us know, Dan. Cheers.
Okay, cool. Cool. So, awesome. Terry wants a machine that can fold laundry. Interesting. I mean, that would make sense. Except for, what if you like to fold laundry? So, let's see, Lisa loves, like Lisa just said, she loves to fold laundry. So, so she would not like a machine to do that. So let's continue on. I've got another video. This one is pushing the envelope of stuff
Welcome to the Oasis.
Of stuff that I think's cool, but definitely starting to have this feeling of something to be mildly concerned of. So we're going to jump into we're jumping into the world of VR with this next one. So
over the years, controllers for VR headsets have evolved. We now have controllers with individual finger tracking, capacitive touch sensors, and the Quest has allowed us to use our hands alone to navigate the system's user interface with the recent hand tracking update. So what I'm going to show you today isn't designed to replace those controllers, but instead add a new control method on top of what we currently use. And that new control method is mind control. It sounds crazy, right? But this is a real product called NextMind, which is a brain-computer interface. It's currently available as a development kit, and the team at NextMind kindly sent me one over for me to try out. It's a small and lightweight device at just 60 grams and can easily be clipped onto the back of a baseball cap or a head strap of a VR headset. It contains an internal rechargeable battery which lasts up to 8 hours and is charged via USB-C. The device features 9 comb-shaped sensors which make contact with the back of your head and can read the signals from the visual cortex of your brain, which are then sent to the PC via Bluetooth, giving you the ability to control digital actions with your mind alone. It sounds completely crazy, and that's because it is. So now I'm going to power this thing up and show you it in action as I have some flat screen and VR demos to try, and then I'll talk a bit more about how it works and my conclusion on this technology. Okay, so as you can see, I've attached the NextMind to the back of my baseball cap here. There is a strap included in the box, but this seemed a little bit more comfortable for me. And I've got all the software installed, so now I'm just going to go through the setup and calibration process. So I've got the device turned on and Bluetooth is enabled on my machine. You can see that the NextMind device is already connected, and we've got a battery status here and also how well it's connected to the back of my head. And as you can see here, the green on these contacts means that it's got perfect contact to the back of my head. Now this could be that I've got a bald head, essentially. You know, maybe it would cause more problems if you had more hair and you wasn't follically challenged like me, but you know, it's the first time that I've ever been told that my mind is perfect, so I'm happy with that. So let's carry on. Start the calibration, hold still and stay focused. I've got it. So I'm focusing on the lines there. That seemed to work. Okay, so let's stay focused on this. Yeah. Okay, so I got a perfect score. That's pretty cool. So it seems like my mind is completely primed for doing this sort of thing. So this is the fun part. You've got these 3 circles in front of me, and I can just choose which one I want to pick just by focusing on it. So let's pick the far right one. And now the far left. And now the far right again. And now the middle. It's completely insane that it actually works. I don't really understand it, but let's carry on and try some more demos and see what we can do with the power of my mind. Okay, so this is controlling a TV. So let's check out the news. I can pause it. Or I can turn the sound off. Okay, let's turn the sound back on.
So I want to pause it there for a second. So, I am probably one of the few people that is more leaning towards I actually don't dislike something like this. Like, for example, when it comes to things like Elon Musk wants to do, and some of the other people out there, I actually like the fact that this can be taken off. And I actually prefer. I'm actually a lot more comfortable with this being in the back of your head than in the front. That's actually something, after thinking about it with biofeedback and such, that does make me a little bit more comfortable. Though the one thing that would bother me a little bit is that would affect certain motor skills as well.
Is it just listening, or is it sending signals in as well?
That's what I would need to really get down and read about this, or we need. I don't think he mentions it in this video, but we'll watch a little bit more to figure it out. I'm guessing. I don't know if they would be allowed to send signals in with this, simply because, like, usually there is a particular level of things that you have to pay for to be able to send signals in. That being said, with everything that's been crazy going on in the last couple years, who knows if that has changed. Like I said, I have the Muse that helps you that helps with meditation and helps clear the mind, but I also can use it as a personal, like, what is it, an EKG. I can also use it to check where my mind waves are going, and it'll adjust that kind of stuff. And the only thing, it's actually not sending signals in. It's just I'm using the audio of it to then listen to the feedback to get that kind of biofeedback. But when my little brother did biofeedback, and the neurologist had the system set up on his head, I watched. That thing was crazy, because I watched things that my brother was able to do, and I was able to watch the doctor manipulate things. And that doctor actually manipulated things. He changed things around. And then my brother, then we took my brother home, and then we actually had to take my brother back to it one day, because my brother just kept having regular seizures. And while my brother was having a seizure, he put this thing on my brother's head, typed in these things, and my brother instantly stopped having a seizure by just using the biofeedback. So I have seen firsthand exactly what biofeedback can do directly to the brain. And what it can do to your physical, how you can physically move and such like that. So this is interesting. And, like Dan pointed out, this could be very useful for someone with hands, or for someone that's older that has issues with arthritis, or, someone that is a complete, lazy fuck that just wants to turn the TV on and such like that. So I don't know. We'll continue on, Mark. Unless you have something else you'd like to add.
Karen, we'll just see a bit more.
Okay.
It's insane. I feel like I have some kind of superpowers. It's nuts. Okay, so now we've got a music composer here. So let's try and make some beautiful music with just the power of my mind. Nice. Get some more drums in there. Oh yeah, this is my jam. Get some ambience. Some synths in there. Starting with the low. Get some high in there. This is so nuts. Wow. Okay, let's just restart this. This is how you restart the whole thing.
Okay, so Mark, Dimatra, I'm curious what both of you think about this. Especially you, Dimatra. I'm kind of interested in your opinion of this.
Well, he's not really making music. He's just sort of like selecting pre-made loops.
No, I understand that, but I mean, just try to draw this out to, you know, being able to you know, pull mixes and to pull notes, and like, let's say that you had a keyboard in front of you and being able to select the keys with just your mind.
Yeah, that would be cool. I'm not sure if it could expand to be that powerful though with just something strapped to the back of your head though. You might need something like that in Neuralink.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I really don't know much about like whatever Cortex thing he was talking about, so I don't know how any of that stuff works. I've never looked into any of that stuff you were talking about.
I think you could actually play a complete piano. I think you could play a whole piano probably. Once you got your mind around it, I think you could probably play every note, like however you wanted. You could probably play like 10 hands on a piano or synthesizer at the same time with this kind of concept with your brain, with just something as simple as something attached to the back of the head. The problem is that you would have to train your mind to understand that you can hit multiple keys at the same time.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Like, is it possible with your mind to actually select that many different notes at once?
I mean,
your subconscious can definitely do it.
Yeah.
It's just a question of how much comprehension your conscious mind has of your subconscious mind when your subconscious mind does it.
Yeah. So like when you're thinking of a chord, you think of like a G minor seventh or something. That's you say that in your mind, but your muscle memory is what actually knows what those notes are. You don't think of G, E, and B.
But let's just say that you're someone who's never played an instrument, and this is the first thing that you could do. You would actually probably have that person would probably have a advantage over you because you do have the muscle memory.
Other thing is, do you have to be bald to use it? Like, can you actually have a decent amount of hair on your head?
I don't know. I mean, that's the thing. With the Muse, I didn't have any problem with the hair or other people that I had, because it attaches here at your temples, and then it goes across the top of your head, and it seemed to be able to read all of that just fine over hair. You couldn't do it over a hat or anything. I mean, this would be interesting. We of course can't ask Mark, because we know this would work on Mark. So I don't know, Mark. You'll have to get us one and tell us how well it works as a bald man.
It probably works better with high testosterone males, if that's what you're saying.
Yes.
People like Beethoven and Mozart would have done well with it.
Yes. Okay, let's continue on, see if anything else is interesting happening.
And then we're back. This is completely blowing my mind right now. I can't believe how well this actually works. So let's try a couple more demos before we move on to the VR one. Okay, so this is a basic little platforming game, and what we can do is we can focus on those rocks to destroy them and move them out of the way of our little character, and also blow up enemies with my mind. Ooh. Jedi powers. Oh. No, focus, Mike. Focus, 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 focus. Whoa, that was crazy. Uh-oh, let's destroy this enemy first. Eat it, noobs. Feel the power of my mind. Well, we finished it. We finished the game. So now that we've had some fun with the PC flat screen demos, now it's time to jump into VR and try out their VR demo using the Oculus Quest 2 and Virtual Desktop. So this is the VR demo, and just like before with the PC version, I'm not using my hands or anything else. I'm literally just using the power of my mind, and I'm using it to blow up these aliens. So it's time for E.T. to go home.
Perfect. Keep it up.
I feel like Professor X. I feel like I have to do like a... Focus. Oh, dodge it. Blow up his mind.
Perfect.
There we go. And we can teleport by focusing on the teleportation marker over there. There we go. I feel like I need to be in that wheelchair like Professor X, rolling around, blowing up these aliens with my mind. Right, let's dodge the incoming fire. Focus. So I'm focusing on his feet. I'm looking around him. Nothing's happening. But then if I focus my mind on his brain and look at the pattern, really focus on the pattern, he explodes. So now I'm going to try and explain how this technology works in the most basic way I possibly can. And that starts with a mind-blowing fact that I recently learned. And that is that you don't actually see with your eyes, you see with your brain. For example, this video that you're watching now, your eyes are just the middleman between the images of this video and the visual cortex of your brain. So when I'm wearing the Next Mind device and focusing on these objects in both the flat screen and VR experience, each of these objects has a unique signature pattern overlay, which is being read by the visual cortex of my brain. These signatures and signals in the visual cortex can be picked up and identified by the Next Mind device, which are then sent to the PC to process them and translate them into an action. The Next Mind is a non-invasive device which just reads the signal from your brain. It can't actually write to the brain, and you can opt in and out of any data that you wish to share with the company. Tech like this seems like complete science fiction, but it might not actually be as far into the future as you might think. Because Next Mind aren't the only ones that believe this technology could change the way we work and play forever. Brain-computer interfaces have been a hot topic recently, with Elon Musk going a few steps further by wanting to actually implant a chip into your brain which can both read and write, called Neuralink. Gabe Newell from Valve is also excited about this tech and recently did an interview with a New Zealand news network talking about the research and development they're doing with brain-computer interfaces and how the sensors could be implemented into the head strap and facial interface of future VR headsets. I'll add a link to the whole interview with Gabe in the description down below. It's absolutely fascinating to watch, and I'd urge you to check it out. But going back to Next Mind, even though this is just the beginning, I'm super impressed with it, as it was very simple to set up and use, and it made me feel like I had a superhuman ability. It's not perfect by any means, and still has a long way to go. For example, right now, it can only be used to read your brain signals to essentially turn a switch on or off, and the response time is kinda slow. It doesn't give you that full Jedi powers feeling whereby you could move an object around the screen with your mind alone, but with developer work they could certainly create game experiences that replicate that feeling by using this device to activate scripted sequences in-game. Just imagine a game that uses this technology in a way that mind control is part of the game's narrative, and the character that you play has telekinesis powers and can collect ammo and supplies using your mind, whilst traditional controllers are used to control movement and other in-game actions. Or imagine a Star Wars game where you could use Jedi mind tricks to convince stormtroopers to move along. Or even a game engine that could sense if you were getting bored in the game and automatically adapt on the fly and ramp up the difficulty. That would be totally awesome. I have to be honest, when NextMind initially approached me, I was very skeptical, but now having tried it, I'm incredibly excited to see where this technology goes in the future. Okay, so that is next.
Okay, so any other additional things that you guys, pros, cons?
Well, I think he gave the impression at one point that we've kind of figured out in the brain where the bit of the brain is that where the screen is. Oh yeah, and this just reads that. It can just sort of look in your brain and tell the bit where the bit is that you can see, and like this computer can see that. No, not at all. Not even slightly. Have we got any idea at all where the bit in the brain is that you can see? We haven't got a clue how it works. All they've done is they've noticed that they've put some probes on somebody's head, and they've noticed that when you think in this way, you can sort of make a dot go this way, and if you put it think this way, well, then we can make it so that a dot goes that way, right? How else can we make it do things? Oh well, we can make it. There's another way that you can think so that it goes here, and there's another way that you can think so it goes there, and then they've just connected them all up, and maybe they understand what the significance to a person would be if you regularly think in that way in those patterns that they're making you do, or maybe they don't. I don't know. But
the future is now.
I'd stay away from that shit if I were you, ladies and gentlemen. for the time being, yeah, I don't think you want to mess with that.
Oh God! Someone microwaves your brain.
Well, they're not microwaving your brain, but they're making you do things with your brain. They're making you do patterns with your brain, which they don't understand, or maybe they do. But either way, they haven't told us about it.
Yeah, they're out of all the out of all of the bio the Neuralink stuff that I've read, that I've watched, and I'm really interested in the biolinking stuff and how, you know, I would love to be able to biohack my own brain. But there's something about that, after watching the entire video, there's something about that that I don't know, that just doesn't, that rubs me the wrong way, especially with the pattern recognition. It's almost like it's almost like the fear of mine would be, it's almost like they, with that thing reading that kind of stuff, they could put QR codes, or they could put other things on your brain and put messages into your brain that you wouldn't actually even notice.
The bit where he started like singing it happily at one point made me think of the Lego film where they all start singing "Everything is perfect, everything is happy." You know that bit.
Yeah, everything is awesome.
Have you guys ever seen Sword Art Online?
No.
Well, basically it's similar, but it's called the Full Dive Helmet, where they go into these RPG worlds and a madman basically hijacked it, and if you die in the world, you die in real life because it sends a signal to your brain that scrambles it.
Oh yeah, that's why you got to be careful with biofeedback. Like, you know, as much of the biohacking that I want to do and get to the point where if I want to be able to mess with an EKG or such like that, like there's a whole lot that you need to know how to do before you start playing with your brain code, and we don't even understand enough of it. And if we do, and what we do understand, they're not sharing all of it with just everyday people. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to agree with Mark, and I'm going to agree with Beth and that kind of stuff. There's something off about that. I would avoid that. And this is someone who loves, you know, high-tech gadgets and I love the idea of wearables.
Give it 5 years.
But we just don't know enough about the brain. That's another issue. They say the brain's a supercomputer, and they're not wrong. And we still really don't understand how it works.
I'll put it this way: we don't know enough about the brain. I do think that there are people out there that do, and they're just not sharing.
They know more than us. They don't know how it works. So.
Oh yeah, no, I'm going to say they don't necessarily know how it works. They know more than we do, and they're not really sharing with us all the different stuff that they know just yet. So, I would definitely, as cool as that is, I would definitely be a little bit more leery. I mean, like wearables, like this is a wearable. Like I have my.
I'd like to see the IQ studies of people that have used them extensively.
That would be interesting.
As children, I'd like to see those, double blind tested against, after a generation of that sort of stuff might not be good.
Or, done properly, it could be amazing. So, okay, so the reason we're talking about the wearable, this is my I don't know if you guys can see the little lights glowing inside of it. It just went out. This is an Aurora ring. So what this does is this tracks my heart rate, my respiration, how I sleep, and there's other features that this is going to with the sensors in this particular ring, because Dimatra I actually upgraded to the newer one. This actually has a lot of features. What's really, really awesome about this ring is the heart rate and the breathing rate, and just being able to get regular feedback. I love the idea of having a regular feedback of what my body's doing. I think that that's really cool. The other thing is, though, at any given point, if I don't like this anymore, I can just take this off. So I do think that like Dan said earlier, the more information that they have on you, the better you are controlled. But that being said, the more information that you have on yourself, the more you can, adjust situations, and you can figure out situations before bad things happen. Like me and Mark's had a conversation about, even VR. I personally think that I personally really like the concept of VR. Ever since I've used VR, it's actually changed the way I can see things in real life. I just needed that. I needed something to give my mind that idea that I could look in that perspective. And so, like, a great example is, and to some of you this might sound really weird, but prior to using VR, like, I could pick an object up, and I could see the object in how it was sitting, but I could never really imagine the object moving so I could see the other side or see into it or something like that. Every time I saw an object, it felt kind of like a 1D or a 2D object where it was just kind of stuck in that location. And as much as I wanted to spin it around, and maybe I did, but as I spin it around, my mind would then blank out. That's something I've always had a tough time doing, is in my mind's eye spatially changing something to a different location. But playing in VR and being able to do that in VR over the course of, a couple months, that's now not a problem. Like, I can think of an object in my head and I can move it in a three-dimensional in all different ways. So I do think that the technology used properly can really benefit us and can do some awesome stuff. That being said, I think that there's a lot of negative stuff to VR. Like, I've been into some amazing VR worlds, and you can get yourself to the point where you can trick yourself into forgetting you're in VR. Like, falling in VR feels like falling in real life. It's crazy. And we're talking about VR technology that's not even that good yet. So that's the thing when we talk about technology, and we talk about, I'm at the particular point that I think that in most cases, unless there's a particular reason for you to do things, you should probably avoid first gen technology. Like, you should maybe not be the beta tester. You should not be the one. You should wait till that technology is more mainstream. I don't know. Anybody else have an opinion on that?
It seems sensible to me to wait.
So, I mean, again,
We
go ahead,
we
Mark.
we don't know the risks yet. It's that simple.
Yeah. But we also don't know the rewards. That's the thing is, everything's not everything, but a lot of stuff has good, good and bad. If all of us were, going to say, I'm going to pass on everything, then, most of us would not be using computers. Most of us would not be using a bunch of stuff.
Well, the Matrix analogy is correct. I mean, humans are in a symbiotic relationship with machines.
Mm-hmm.
We have been since we first started using tools, and everything that uses a tool is, I guess, to some extent, and we're just really good at it. And that if you start denying that at some point, the point is technology changes humanity, but everything that's in a symbiotic relationship with something else, when that other thing changes, the other thing has to change to adapt to the thing that it's in a symbiotic relationship with.
Yeah, see, Dan. I mean, the thing is when you're focusing on making your IRL better instead of hopping into and hoping for a better VR. I actually think that you can use VR to make your IRL life better. Like a great example is going into VR, and in the future I would love to be able to go into VR. I would love to put in, walk around my farm, plant some trees around, fast forward time, get get an idea of where everything's going to go, and then rearrange things and kind of predict the future, kind of see stuff that would be fun to see, or run some predictions. Because me, someone as someone who likes who's more of a doer than I am anything else, VR feels like I can do something. It's not just like passive. And so, like, what I like about doing in there and doing in VR is I can do something, and then I can see the consequence of that, and then I can make a decision in real life if I would like to do that same consequence. Again, that's not necessarily for everyone. VR, just as any other addiction, can be very dangerous, just as video games are addiction, just as streaming, just as social media, just as even going to bars and the socializing in such a bars can be an addiction. You have to know your addiction, you have to know your strengths and your weaknesses, and you have to make sure that whatever tool you're using, you're not letting it control your life. So it's that, again, that's why we really have to have this, this conversation about, evil. As me and Mark's talked about before, and maybe you've heard other people talk about, evil is when something reduces your ability to live. So if you can, as Dan pointed out, if you can find a balance, if you are someone that can use the technology, and you can, as Mark said earlier, use it to better humanity, to better your life, to make things, better, then that's the way. If the technology is being used to control you and to make things worse and to make things not better, then it's evil. And you should, shy away from doing that. So anybody else here have any bit of technology that, they either think is really spectacularly cool, or pieces of technology that they think is very evil, or stuff that, other parts of technology that we should be talking about?
I don't think any technology is evil, but it's always the intent behind it, isn't it? It's the lack of knowledge. All technology, all new technology, when it comes in, is always misused, and is that there's this harm that comes about because of it, until awareness of that technology increases, and then everybody learns what the tricks are and what the foibles and pitfalls are, and they don't fall for them anymore, and and then the cycle repeats, and the technology gets better, and we just go round and go round and go round. That seems to be what the ongoing point is. But I think that there does seem to be So that's saying like I'm going to draw the line on the chip. They're not putting a chip in my head.
Yeah, I'm not putting. They're not installing a chip in my head neither. You know, and again, but that's, you know, again, that's a personal thing. I think that's what's important is we all have to know what where our personal boundary is. You know, I know some people that say I'm gonna never own a cell phone because they don't like the idea of the cell phone thing. And there's nothing wrong with people having a line, but you should have a line, and then your line should be, you know, you should be able to realistically explain to anybody why your line is where you're at. Don't have your line because you're paranoid. Don't have your line because, you know, it's a delusional idea. Have your line because you have a reason. So.
Right, until someone can explain to me how the brain works, then things that work by controlling your brain I'm very suspicious of.
Yeah, and
the technology is fundamentally sound. It's just like, come on, guys, what are you talking about? How does this work? Like, really? You don't know, do you? No, we don't know really. Okay.
Well, and like
that's actually the truth of it. They don't know. They've wired up some probes for people's heads, and they've noticed that they can make noughts and ones change on a computer. So by making people think about stuff, that's it. Or maybe it's a lot more than that, and there's something really sinister going on. But it's one of those two.
I mean, like Dan just pointed out, you know, there might be someone that has, you know, zero motor skills or poor motor skills, and those person might want the chip. And for their quality of life, I would never blame that person. You know, if you were a paraplegic and then you had the opportunity to install a chip into your head and increase the quality of your life, I mean, how could you blame a person for wanting to raise the quality of their life to, I mean, that's a drastic quality of life increase. You know, I might have mentioned it before, you know, if I lost an arm, I would get a bionic arm. I am okay with replacement parts. I am perfectly fine with replacement parts. It's augmentation that I'm against. Because the truth is most of us are willing to do replacement parts today. Most people are willing to do a hip replacement. Most people are willing to do, you know, an implant in their tooth. Most people are willing to go through a type of eye surgery that's replacing the retina. You know, those are just replacement parts. So just because some replacement parts are technology, I think that, you know, we need to, you know, understand what that means. Again, though, if you have a perfectly functioning brain and your brain is working, that you have a good high quality of life, I wouldn't mess with, unless something is going to drastically increase your quality of life. I think that's where my line is. Something's going to have to drastically increase the quality of the life that I have prior to getting that technology installed. Terry, you're probably the closest to a Luddite we have in here. What's your opinion?
I'm at a point where if tomorrow my computer is filled with crap Bill Gates is just shoving into it, I will take it to the lake and not look back.
Okay.
This is in Minecraft, right?
in Minecraft, I will. Speaking of Minecraft, I took down that tower.
Oh, you did you?
I'm moving it.
So, I mean, so then would you? I mean, you know, you joke about the donkey, but would you give up your car for a donkey?
Well, I don't have a car, so a donkey would be an upgrade.
Let's say you had a donkey. Let's say you had a car.
If they said, like, okay, let's say I have a car, and then they ban my car, because it's not part of the grid, it's not electric, it's not on the GPS system, I'd be like, it's donkey time.
Okay. So you're saying
I rarely go out without a cell phone. Like a peg of cash. I don't want to deal with the government knowing that, I don't know, I'm going to the store to buy grandma's diapers. Okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
It's none of their business. But here's the thing. Like I mentioned in the chat, what type of future are we heading towards where it's going to be assumed that I'm guilty if I don't have a chip in my head?
I don't think we'll get there.
But what do you got to hide? What are you hiding in that head of yours? What are you thinking about?
I don't think I think that right now we're just at a time where enough people were convinced to willingly give up privacy, but I think that these next generations coming up that's never had the ability to have privacy are then going to demand privacy because it's luring, it's something they've never had. You know, you see that with Gen Z's choosing not to be on social media. And I'm not saying all of them. You're going to be able to find outliers in everything, but I think that you're finding out. I think you're going to find out that when you go too far one direction, people are going to demand for it in the other direction. I mean, look at how if you spend any time on the internets right now and you happen to go down any of the conspiracy sites, if you pay attention to, like, Mark won't see this, but if you pay attention to anybody that watches the ads that you get on, you know, the conspiracy sites, you're going to see they're talking about VPNs. They're talking about, how to protect your password. They're going to talking about how to, scrub your existence off of the internet, that kind of stuff. They're marketing to the people that want their privacy back. You know, you were talking about all these people choosing to move back to the country. They're moving back to the country because there is, as much as people like being around people, there is a bit of privacy that people want when they move to a rural area. One mistake people make is thinking they're going to move to a small town and, they're going to be able to stick to themselves and still function in the small town, and that's never going to happen. Though, Dan, there is ways, like there is, if you pay attention to some of the newer phone companies that are starting to come out, there are now phone companies that are focusing on, privacy, especially if you're willing to give up your smartphone and go back to a dumb phone. Because cell phones truly give you the same level of privacy as a landline did, because a landline, they knew exactly where you were at any given point. It's just the way we look. It's just the way we look at the technology and the way we look at, what we like and what we don't like. Like Mark points out a lot of times is, they have the least control of us than they've ever have before. Even though it feels to a lot of us that they have a lot more control because they have a lot more tentacles to get out to us to, spread propaganda, to try to convince us to do things. But then, as Mark always points out, we also have the most ways to answer that with the truths and to show people lots of stuff.
You look at, let's say, our parents' time, their TV had 2 channels on it when they were growing up. They had radio, they had 2 or 3 channels on the TV, the printed news, and gossip.
Go back 200 years, it used to be possible for the elite class to control food. They could control the peasantry because the peasants needed to eat, and they weren't organized in enough between themselves to actually grow the food independently, because they were like collectivized into like farming in a system that meant that they were able to be controlled collectively. And so they were able to manage food because there wasn't actually, it took, one person could grow enough food for like 5 people maybe, and so like 1 in 5 or 1 in 10 people were farmers or something like that. Whereas today it's like one person can grow enough food for 1,000 people or 10,000 people maybe. So it's now not possible for the elite to say, "Oh, do what I say, or I'll take food away." They're pretending that they can do that, and they can't. But they did used to be able to.
Humvee 94, yeah. My significant other, she's the one. She made this hat for me. It's got nice flap ears. She made. When did you make this hat, Lisa?
Oh, I don't know. What?
The red one. Oh, she made this. She made this hat. This is one of the hats that she made. She made last year. Every so many years, she makes and does things with hats. We don't have any up on her Etsy channel, but if you see in the description below, she has an Etsy page where she makes and sells hats. I like homemade. The one thing where we're talking about technology, I actually like homemade stuff like hats and clothes and that kind of stuff. But it's just because it's fun. So I think it's cool. I think it's cool that a person made things. Yeah, Dan, hit me up on Discord. And by the way, anybody that wants to join the Discord, ! Discord, you guys can jump on the Discord. But yeah, Dan, hit me up on the Discord if when are you gonna start making hats again, Lisa? January? Yeah, she's gonna start making hats again in January. So Dan, if you are interested in getting one, and there's a color scheme that you want or a particular style that you want, you can talk to Lisa and she can custom make you a hat. So
I think Dan wants that hat.
You want this hat?
That particular hat, yeah.
Well, I got fuzzy stuff that goes around the ears now.
Yeah, she's got
not a copy. He wants that
no,
one.
Actually, she has
Lisa can make you another hat, but Dan
Yeah.
wants that one.
Dan wants this one. Well, Dan, I can tell you though, her new hats is that she now puts a nice fuzzy stuff around on the inside. She now puts fuzzy stuff around on the inside, and actually, it's a lot more comfortable. This was purely a prototype, and I just really like this prototype because it was fun, and so she has better. She's increased the way she's found little ways to make them a lot more comfortable and a lot cooler. So.
Dan wants a blue one. Apparently.
Dan wants a blue one. Yeah, we'll talk about Dan next time we hit up on Discord. We'll talk some more about that. Like if you want ear flaps or you want some other cool design, we can talk about that. So ear coverage. Yeah, these actually work pretty good. Like they do a pretty fun job. I just think the hat. I just like this hat because I don't know, it's silly. So. Yeah, and I'm also not really a big fan of red. It's just Why did you make a red one, Lisa? Was it just the material that you had, or?
Why did I make a red one?
Yeah.
Because it's a red, orange, and yellow pattern.
Oh, okay.
It was a starburst.
Oh, okay. So this was her starburst pattern.
Candy
Her candy starburst pattern is what she's saying. So. Anyways.
What's wrong with red? It's Christmas.
Red's, in the scheme of things, red's one of my least favorite colors. I don't know why, as I'm wearing red glasses sitting here, but it's one of my least favorite colors. But it is Christmas color. It is a good Christmas color. It is the color of the that psychedelic mushroom as well. Though I am thinking, Terry, I do one day, that meme there, I do one day want to make I do actually want to make a pimp hat like that one day, because I would wear it. I would wear a pink sparkly pimp hat that's big like that. That would be cool. But I'm a fan of hats, so I couldn't even count how many hats I own. It's in the thousands. My next hat that I'm trying really, really hard to find is Paul Stamos, this mushroom guy, he's got this Belgian hat that's made from a giant mushroom. I want one. I want a mushroom hat.
Oh no. My battery died. How do I use enough to get out of here?
Just get my controller and plug it into the PlayStation. You have to plug in that cord and then plug it in. And, yeah, and then it'll sync it. It'll resync it up. So what other? So Mark, how about you? What technology do you think that you would that you would like to see, that you think's possible, that you would like to see appear realistically in the future?
I think projecting onto, like the retina, that's going to be a thing that's reasonable, and we'll get that working really well. Like you'll be able to put on like a pair of glasses, and they'll project onto your eyes like perfectly, like a screen, like much better than a screen could ever be.
So kind of like Google Glass, but actually work.
Yeah. But then you'll be able to get a much better interface than that you plug into your head. And that's where we go like, oh, wait a minute, I think I might wait 3 or 4 generations before I start recommending that.
Damatra, do you have a piece of technology that you know can exist, but you'd like to see in the future?
No, not really.
Okay.
I don't look into that much like future tech stuff, to be honest.
Is there a piece of future tech that you would like to exist, that would be cool, that you would like to better your life?
Well, now you like mentioned about that playing music with that I forget what it was called, the thing on the back of the head. That'd actually be pretty fun. If that existed, if I could write music doing it like that.
Yeah, I agree. That would actually be pretty fun.
As long as it doesn't send stuff back into my head.
Yeah, if you had 100% control over it and you didn't, and it wasn't going to go in any direction that you were worried. Yeah. Golf, Terry, either of you have a piece of technology?
I would like a pocket AI lawyer.
A pocket AI lawyer. Huh. Okay.
And I just asked, can I sue this person for this event? And it will give me an answer. Like, yes. Oh, I had the payday.
That would, okay. I see that.
You ask them on an ongoing basis during the confrontation. Not quite. Yes. No. Yes. Brilliant.
Oh, I don't know why it did that. So. Okay, I can't spell Jitsi today, but one of those links, if anybody else would like to join and jump into the Jitsi, I'll actually just copy and paste the link because, for some reason my computer says I can't type today. Let's try this one. Let's see if this one finally works. There you go. That last one will work if anybody is interested in joining. If anybody's interested in joining into the panel with us here on Jitsi and would like to add your voice to the to the mix and chit chat with us, you guys are welcome. And also, if you're not, I should also post the Discord for folks that might be new. And here is the link to the Discord, where we're always talking about lots of crazy, fun things on the Discord, and everyone is welcome. And like I said earlier, we play Minecraft. We talk about farming. We talk about conspiracy stuff. We share things about gardening. I talk a little bit about my biohacking and how I'm trying to figure out ways to make my body, mind, and all that kind of stuff work a little bit better. I don't know, is there anything else that we talk about on the Discord that I seem to don't bring up enough, since all you guys are on my Discord?
Oh, I posted an article about using your pond for geothermal.
Oh, okay. I'm super interested in that.
Very cheap. Like, you're just complaining about bedrock. I'm like, you don't need soil for
Okay.
geothermal. You can use water.
Okay. No, that's awesome. I'm gonna totally look into that. That's the other thing, guys. That's the other reason why my Discord's fun, is we have such a cool community of people that like think in so many different directions. And you know, we mention something and Terry quickly finds a really cool concept of something I'm gonna look into because it sounds awesome. So I don't think Golf's here, so I can't ask him about what technology he would think that he would like to add into the realm. How about any of you in chat? Is there any bits of technology? I think Any Word said that he would like something to torture lawyers. I mean, to torture politicians with.
I responded. I told him a lie detector.
Lie detector. What's cool for those that I don't know if you'd heard me talk to Mark about this earlier, Terry, but on the Discord I was trying something different this time. I found out through Restream that I can archive everything in the chat into Discord, and so under Stream Chat now all of our conversations are archived in there. That also means all of our links and everything is saved. So any link that anybody shares and such like that gets archived in, and so that's it's a transcript. So that's really cool. So I'm excited about very excited about that, because sometimes I have to really dig deep to find when people post some really good useful links. So like that link that Any Word posted about the kind of controlling your own, de-googling your phone. That's a good one that I want to definitely go through and check out and review. So since we're only a few days away, anybody have any fun plans for the darkest day of the year, or for you, Damatra, the longest day of the year?
No, I'm pretty much working all over Christmas. So
yeah, Christmas.
How about you, Mark? Do you even get Christmas this year? You guys going to be allowed to have Christmas?
Yeah, I think they're gonna just about. Well, they're trying to lock us down again, but I think most people are just ignoring it en masse now. There's going to be just a massive rebellion this Christmas, and everyone's just going to just ignore whatever lockdowns they're given and do whatever they like, I think. And I'd recommend that everybody do that. Whatever, if whatever restrictions you've got, just ignore them. Do whatever you want.
Glad to see that you've not been thrown into a camp yet, Damatra.
Oh yeah, I've stayed out of trouble.
Have you participated in any more of the stuff that's happening in Melbourne?
No, I haven't. The protests have died down a bit.
Okay.
Also, like, the people that are running the protest, I found out a bit shady.
Okay.
Yeah, the people there are all good. It's just the organizers. I don't know what they're up to.
I gotcha. Yeah, seeing a lot of the people with you with the stuff that you were when you were streaming and that kind of stuff. Yeah, the people that you interacted with, or the people that we saw walk past, everybody just looked like just real, everyday, good people. So
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think my mum and sister still go to a fair few.
And I knew that you had some family members that were sick. Everything good with them?
Oh yeah, they were fine.
Good.
And I still haven't caught it, so I don't know. And I live with them, so it's
Yeah, so
weird.
Lisa, last time she went to the doctor, they did a blood test with her, and they did a complete antibody test, and she had no antibodies in her system. And then my mom, we're pretty sure with what the test said, it looked like that my mom didn't have any antibodies either.
Have either of them had COVID?
No. To our knowledge, neither one of them had COVID. And then the only person, and my dad is would be considered fully vaccinated. He's for some reason choosing to participate in, which is fine, which works out great to our household. If they ever do anything absolutely silly, then at least one person in our house can, function in society.
Yeah.
But so yeah, it's so yeah, it's like Lisa says, he's taken one for the team. So you know.
Yeah, I'd be interested to get an antibody test. I was trying to find some online, but I couldn't find any. I'm not sure. Maybe they haven't approved them yet for
I gotcha.
like commercial sales.
Yeah, no, I mean, I know here, like, we can just go to any doctor and you can ask for an antibody test, and if you pay for it yourself, or if you can bring a point that you might have been exposed to COVID, you can get it. So, but
Oh yeah, it's just last time I went to the doctors, they just had a go at me for not being vaccinated. So
yeah, I mean, though, I don't, I can only tell you, through other people's experiences, since I don't go to doctors. So I haven't,
yeah,
it's been over 16 years now since I went to a doctor. I treat if something happens, I just treat myself. So.
Or you steal some drugs off your dog.
Yeah, or I steal some drugs off of my dead dog. Yep.
This is why you need a donkey. All the
That's
medications are for the donkey.
All the medications are for the donkey. Well, I thought about trying to do that with Sylvia. I thought about that. There's a lot of stuff I could get medication for the pig. So.
Oh, we were supposed to talk about the pig toilets today.
Oh
I
yeah.
forgot about.
Yeah, no worries. Do you have the link, and we'll talk. We can show the video and talk a little bit about the pig toilets.
Well, it's just Wikipedia pig toilets. That's what I.
Okay.
That's what I.
Yeah, what we were talking about, if for those that want to get filled in, we were talking earlier today in Discord about we were talking about composting and how I'm going to do workshops about my composting toilet, my vermiculture toilets, and Terry was talking about she came across an article or came across something about using pigs for in some country they use pigs to get rid of human excrement. So I'm just always interested how different cultures and different people choose to do different things to get rid of, human waste. Because, for some reason, our ancestors used to know how to do it, but, in modern time, we kind of got dumb about it and stuff, so.
Oh, they even made paintings of it. I guess I'll post that too, and text to voice. There you go.
Let's do like that, and let's go with share my screen. I guess we'll just share this screen. The pig toilets. Why is it not showing the pig toilets? Anyways, they're pig toilets. So, I'll try to get it. For some reason, it's not letting me share the screen on thing, so. Pigsty latrines is what they're called. Yeah, I would, again, I think we talked a little bit about it. I would say that that's probably not a good... I would personally not suggest that as a type of thing that you should actually do.
And those are for actual pigs.
Yeah, so to describe what's happening is there's a building up top, and then there's a little pen down below, and you go up top and you do your business up top, and it falls down into the pig pen.
Ah.
It's not complicated.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought it was a toilet for the pig, and you got the pig to go to the toilet.
No. The pigs are the toilet.
Yeah, the pigs are the toilet. Yeah, you're pretty much shitting on pigs. Is pretty much what you're doing.
Well, you know what? They lick your butt after. You save on toilet paper.
I mean, yeah.
It's only legal in Tennessee, though, isn't it?
Oh man. Yeah, just I don't know. I'm my imagination is going in directions that aren't bueno. I don't know. I don't think this is a good idea.
It definitely not with the Western diet. You know what I mean? Like, like 3,000 years ago, in like some part where they everybody lived off grain and rice, maybe you might got away with it, but not these days when everybody's eating Twinkies all the time.
The thing that I think's funny though is that we talk about this, but like I don't know. I don't even know what the pigs would do, because pigs are very clean. Like, they actually have specific toilets like that they'll use in the yard, and then after they're done, if there becomes too much excrement that's not being broken down fast enough, the pigs will actually like break down brush and put brush on top of it, and then choose a different place to use the toilet. Like, inside where a pig sleeps is really, really clean. It might smell like, I don't know, it might smell a little bit like dirt or something like that, but, in general, where pigs sleep is very, very clean. Because pigs actually want to be clean.
Do wild pigs actually roll around in the mud and stuff?
The only reason a pig rolls around in the mud is to put the mud on its skin to protect itself from sunburn, or because it's so hot and they don't have the same type of sweat glands that we have, they're rolling around the mud to cool down.
Yeah.
But a lot of the times the pigs are rolling around to coat their skin with mud so they don't get sunburned.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And I mean, and pigs are very, very intelligent. I mean, I think pigs are cool. Like, and I was somebody who did not like pigs in the past, and I think pigs are... The problem with having a pig is it makes it harder and harder for me to, eat pork. Which I really like bacon and I really like ham, so it's really hard. But then what makes me feel a little bit better is Sylvia, my pig, really likes bacon and she really likes ham. So... I've never had beef bacon. I've had turkey bacon. I've never had beef bacon. I know people's talked about it. Oh, Terry, and I've got a T-shirt idea that I would um I need some brainstorming of some people so that we can come up with a really cool T-shirt idea, or I thought about even making a making a flag or something out of it. I think it would be a great parody flag to add to the mix. I want to make a "Don't Tread on Brandon" flag, because I think it would be. I just think it has a really funny. I think there's a lot of humor that can be added to something like that.
I'll
Well,
have
it
to think
seems like,
about that one.
yeah. Well, unless there's a direction that everybody would like to go tonight, it seems like everybody is. It seems like we're a little low energy, which is just fine because I'm also just a smidget of low energy. So I think I covered most of the stuff that I wanted to cover. By the way, if you're just topping in now, you missed in the beginning. The first part of the show, we showed some cool things about permaculture community. We showed just a really cool, good story about how this guy in Oz, he was able to get a group. Which, by the way, Damatra, that group might be something that you might be interested in, just because it would be kind of cool to meet up with some. As long as you like hippies, it'd probably be cool to meet up with some groups like that. And then after that, we went through some technologies. We talked a little bit about the technology that farmers use. We talked about some moving water around. We also talked about, then we really got focused on talking about electric cars. And so that was probably about an hour and a half in for those that might be interested in that kind of stuff. And then we just kind of faded away with the last little bit of some of the high tech that we talked about with VR and such like that. You know, anywhere you say you're probably never going to be able to go to a store or building ever again, like, you just need to move to a particular area where it just doesn't matter, because there's plenty of places. I mean, there's plenty of places that you'll be able to do that, especially when you find mom and pop places and small town places. They're only gonna tailor towards even particular groups of people, unless you
Do they
don't
have
ever.
digital passports in the US? The vaccine passport.
I think they do now that Philadelphia and New York City require that. But I actually don't know. So, I don't know anybody. I personally don't know anybody that has a digital vaccine passport or anything of that sort. So, I will actually have to ask around to some of the folks I know to see if some of the friends that I have that would totally be into that. I'll have to ask. So, I'll be honest, I haven't adventured around on the apps to see if one exists. So, there probably is one. I should probably set up a fake account and like play around and see what kind of requirements they have and just kind of understand, because I usually like to do that kind of stuff. I like to try to understand what's being put out there. I've been doing other things. Are they popular there in Oz?
Oh yeah. Yeah, you pretty much can't go anywhere. You can go to the supermarket, the bottle shop, the servo, and everywhere else you need it.
Okay.
So you're only allowed to go get groceries, basically.
So at like a place like a gym and such, you'd have to show it before you go to a gym.
Yep, you have to upload it to the actual business, and then they put it in their account.
Oh, so they have to
they have to have a record of it.
They have to keep a record of it. Okay, interesting. I was curious how they were going to do stuff like that.
Unless it's a casual visit where you just pay
Yeah.
like $5 to get in the gym, but yeah.
If you're a member of anything, they're making the members have proof of their rules. Okay, interesting.
And it's really pretty damn high tech now. Like there are people making like fake ones, but they're nowhere near as accurate as the real ones. They've got like, when you tilt your phone and it like goes holographic, like the image like moves around depending on where you tilt your phone. Yeah, they've got them, and it changes color and things. Has QR codes in it, so they can scan it and it'll tell them if it's legit or not.
I gotcha. Yeah, I can just because our driver's license here in the United States are still so shitty. Like, give me just a second. I want to grab mine. I just want to show you just how absolutely ridiculous ours are still harder in the States. So, I also want to show everyone just so because people's they've not quite understood some of the stuff I've said. So they're still plastic. They've got rid of we used to have holograms. So our driver's license used to have holograms when they go back and forth. If you notice, the holograms are gone. The only thing that's kind of holographic is your second little picture here, but that would actually be easy to do. And with Ohio, that's where my driver's license from. So all you can see here is all they did is they made this a nice little gold. And then the only thing that might be kind of hard to do is your little barcode right here. But I mean, our driver's license have like got to the point where this actually, like, I could probably, this would not take me, this wouldn't actually be very hard to counterfeit my own driver's license.
Yeah, you could fake that pretty easy.
Yeah.
To get in somewhere.
Yeah. So now, so if you look here, I don't know if you can see that, if I can zoom it in well enough. Let me. Yeah, if you look right here, it clearly. Well, I can't get it to zoom in good enough, but it says it says on here not for federal ID. So I actually currently do not own a federal ID. So like I've told many people, currently I actually cannot go inside any federal building in the United States. So yeah, just so I look at this, and this is the silly technology that we're using today. So I can just as they get lazier and lazier, with this kind of stuff, I can just imagine how lazy they would ultimately get with, the vaccine. I mean, I'll have to for another show. I'll have to actually get my dad's little paper vaccine passport thing. It's literally like a blue piece of paper with a doctor's signature on it, a date, and a batch number. So, yeah, Dan, no airport, no airplanes for me. Yeah, I actually can't. I can't fly. So, the last time I've flown was in 2009 when I went to Alaska, and having to go through all, that was the first time I had to opt out of all the TSA crap, and I pretty much, after experiencing that once, I pretty much said, yeah, I will never fly commercial. I can't actually imagine me flying commercial until the TSA goes away, because
you should try flying through an American airport as a non-American. The TSA handle you much worse.
Oh yeah, no, I can absolutely imagine. I can absolutely imagine that. I will say, and again, this was pre-COVID. Lisa, when she flew to New Zealand, and then flying between airports in New Zealand, she said it was like flying in the United States prior to 9/11, when they when they just didn't care. You didn't even walk through metal detectors. They just passed you through, and you're just fine. And I'm just like, yeah, that's how it should be. Like this crazy fear and all sorts of stuff is just ridiculous. But yeah, I can just imagine how horrible it would be for international folks. Okay, guys. Well, I think I think we'll call it a wrap for the evening. Thank you guys all for joining me. I hope you guys enjoyed yourself. It was a good time. Thank you, Dematra and Golf and Terry and Mark and Anyword and Dan and Beth and anyone else that was in chat that swung by. And thank you. Thank you, T-Rex, for getting your buddy to host me. That was absolutely spectacular. Very much appreciate it. Again, we do this every Thursday night. So we'll do this again Thursday night. I'm going to probably be adding a Tuesday during maybe between 5 to 6 o'clock Eastern time show, because I have some friends on the East Coast that have told me that this show is just too late for them and they would like to participate and be involved, but they don't want to do the late show. But I have a lot of you guys that the late show is what's fun with. So I'll be probably adding a Tuesday show in the future. So something for future people to look forward to. I haven't done a lot of the farm stuff because it's been really boring, and so we just haven't. Me and Lisa did decide we're gonna be adding about 25 or so new chickens in the spring. So that'll be something to look forward to, because we're going to really start upping our egg production, mostly because I'm going to start eating a lot more eggs, and so we're going to need a lot more chickens to be laying a lot more eggs. And so we're going to be focusing on chickens that are really good at egg laying. So that's stuff that'll be happening in the future. And other than that, I would like, again, if anybody wants to join the Discord, please jump into the Discord. We play a bunch of games together. We have some awesome conversations, and it's just an all-around good time. A good community, a good group of people. And again, to everyone out there, thank you guys so much for being like that. I'm gonna jump out of Jitsi for just a minute. I'm gonna do the exit music, and then I'll either meet you guys on Discord or jump back into Jitsi. Where would you guys rather meet, on Discord or Jitsi?
I'll stay here, it's cool.
Okay, cool.
Jitsi's good.
Okay, I will see you guys, and I'll be back in just a second. And I am going to, guys, let me get us a fun exit music, and yeah, it was a good time. Again, thank you guys all for joining. It's a good time. I always enjoy having lots of people interaction. I have a good time with all of my friends. Again, if you're following this on something other than Twitch or DLive, I do suggest following me either on Twitch or DLive if you've not used either one of those. Part of the reason is because both of those are there's a really good community of really awesome people when you find your niche in those two communities, where things like Facebook and YouTube aren't quite as fun. So I think it's always fun to find some of the different things. So found the song. Let's get that switched over. Thank you guys. Thank you guys again. And until tomorrow, enjoy.
Loud thunder, heavy rain, thin line between joy and pain. It's a long, strange trip, it's all insane. You ain't never gonna be the same. Living life through the night, thin line of a lightning strike. Sometimes the only light when the moon is tucked away. Pistons pumping, minds are racing. It's hard to sleep, man, when I'm shaking. Bad news surrounds me. It's always found me creeping up when things are good. Yeah, the dark days find a way. Loud thunder, heavy rain, thin line between joy and pain. It's a long, strange trip, it's all insane. You ain't never gonna be the same. Living life through the night, thin line of the lightning strike. It's sometimes the only light. When the moon is tucked away, the camera captures all the things that make us turn from what we see. It's always rolling, it don't stop rolling. I haven't slept in 3 damn days. Yeah, but who needs that anyway? Loud thunder, heavy rain, thin line between joy and pain. It's a long, strange trip, it's all insane. You ain't never gonna be the same. Living life through the night, thin line of the lightning strike. It's sometimes the only light when the moon is tucked away.